I make a motion to open the Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation for May 11th, 2015.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. If you are speaking in this evening, we ask that you please sign in. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, direct them all to this board. Also speak into the microphone. If you do need to dialogue with one another, please take it out in the hallway. It interferes with our opportunity to hear those that are speaking. And as always, we're going to be courteous to one another as we are at every meeting, correct? I'd like to welcome you to the May 11, 2015 meeting of the Architectural Board of Review and Historic Preservation. My name is Curtis Highsmith, and I am your chair. I'd like to introduce our panel. We have Brian Brady, Christina Redding, Esther Pastor, and as always, Ham Hogue. We welcome you here as well.
Thank you.
Our historic consultant, Zach Studenroth, our legal counsel, Bo Robinson, and Antoinette, as always, we welcome you. We're going to start this evening's meeting with signs. And first application, please.
Chairman, the first one is Rite Aid, and they've asked for an adjournment. So the next one up is Cunningham Agency.
First, motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
Make a motion that we approve the applicant Rite Aid's request to adjourn to a
Second.
next meeting.
It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next application,
This
please.
application is Cunningham Agency at 88 Main Street.
Hi, Denise Fenchel, Hampton Signs.
It's just a wood sign, blue lettering, white background.
White background, navy letters.
No lanterns, no lighting or anything. Okay.
No issue.
Camp?
No issues.
Christine?
Fine.
Brian. Any questions, any comments from the public? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign application for Cunningham Agency on Main Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next
Belfridge.
application, please.
Sorry, Beltridge, 2 Jobs Lane for storefront.
Betteridge.
Betteridge. Beg your pardon.
Jewelry.
Denise Fenchel, Hampton Signs again.
This is a awning and decal on the window. Retractable.
I believe it's just a recover of the existing, yes. So,
Recover of an existing awning.
yeah, so it's retractable. Yes.
Same exact awning that's there now. Fabric, color.
Different color fabric.
Different color. Do you have
Navy
a
fabric.
swatch or a color rendering? Normally, typically, they give a copy of a sample of the swatch, showing the material.
It's Admiral Navy.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I can bring a swatch in.
The letter is gold.
On the awning, gold paint, and on the window, gold leaf.
There is no swatch, but it seems that there's just.
I'm okay with it.
You okay with
I
it?
think it's very handsome.
Very nice.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign application for Beltridge on Jobs Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next application,
Lamp
please.
lighter. Excuse me.
Okay, Denise Fenchel, Hampton Signs.
Wood background, or is this a
Wood background.
wood background?
With raised three-dimensional letters on the board.
So it's just the lettering. Lettering is red.
It's a,
Is it the same sign that's been there?
no, it was yellow before.
Gives yellow.
Now it's just
Is
raised
it
letters.
backlit in any way at all?
No?
Okay. So this is the sample. Any questions? Esther?
Improvement over what was there.
Great.
Brian?
I'm fine with it.
Any public comment on the application?
It's actually a maroon. It doesn't show well on there, but it's a maroon.
Just FYI, you typically usually have a copy that shows the actual color. It makes it, sometimes when you photographs or, it just doesn't come on, it doesn't appear
Okay.
clear. Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign application for Lamplighter Wines and Liquors on Jagger Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application is menu.
Yes. Denise Fenchel, Hampton Signs.
It's the store sign as well as the decal on the windows.
Yes, it's both.
Both. Is it pink, white background, wood,
It's magenta.
magenta?
Yes.
Very good. Now it's unique. It's difficult to see the actual
Okay,
color.
yeah. Next time
So-
you'll have a swatch.
Thank you. Any issue with the color?
No.
Any issue with the font, design?
No.
Esther?
I think it's me and you.
Me and you, not menu.
It was like a
Get your
food store.
attention, though.
Children's
Very
store.
nice.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign for me and you on Job's Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Deja? Awning and window signs?
Yes. Denise Venture, Hampton Signs.
Is there existing awning there now or no?
I don't know,
Okay,
but this will be retractable.
understood. Color?
Green.
White lettering?
Can I see the image again? White letter.
It looks good to me.
It looks fine. I'm sorry. I
It's
mean to give
fine.
you a hard time, but just procedurally speaking, going
I
forward.
know, I understand.
this
We're
is-
just a little
it just makes
under
things a lot
pressure
easier.
these days to get everything
Exactly.
out.
If you were
Right.
talking, if you were speaking about colors that were a little more unconventional, there would be problems or issues to proceed further.
I think it looks great.
Esther?
Wonderful.
Can
Christine?
you see there's two sets of metal lettering there too?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Brian?
I'm fine.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign application for Gija on Southampton on Job's Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Coldwell Banker. The AC on in here?
Or a fan or something.
Yeah. Charlie, is there a way you can halt that and turn the AC on in here? Please.
Let's try the fan for now. Let me try the fan for now.
As long as you don't crank them too much, because it blows on the microphone.
Really?
Yeah, and then you got whoosh, whoosh, whoosh into the microphone.
What is it?
Some of our meetings, they needs to be whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Whoosh. And then those things go on, but.
You gotta crank it down a little bit. It's way too much.
That's nice.
The back one you can put on as much as you
Brian,
want.
can you just hit that AC unit on behind you? I think that's the remote, right?
Yes, it
Is
is.
there somebody in the back that can hit that one on too?
Fine, you want me to come do it?
John, can you hit that on?
Start, stop?
I think so. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
aim it at the thing though.
Aim it behind you, up to your right. Cold. Please.
I turned it off.
Okay. Yeah, let me just get over to it.
Great, thanks.
If you can stop the thing from doing that.
There it goes.
There you go,
got
now
it?
stop the movement.
How do you do that?
Swing it, I think.
Bingo. Thank you.
You don't want the movement, Charlie.
No,
move-
let it blow that way, let it go back until the fan blades make it go that way. Okay, stop it.
Oh no, I think you did better than I did. Just
Board
give it
members,
to Charlie.
does it
I'll
take
give
to
it to
turn
Charlie.
on the air
Yeah, it's just
conditioning? Bad joke.
really bad joke, right?
Oh, there you go.
I can feel it.
Good to me.
Much better.
See, Bo, you got us hot up here, man. It's,
It's a lot better now.
are you still recording? I hope not.
I think so.
We're not still recording, are we?
Charlie, the red light's on.
He's,
Well, that's good enough, at least it's blowing down.
Okay.
all right.
Never said we were boring, meetings.
Okay.
Okay, proceed. All right, call vote.
Coldwell Banker.
Yes.
Name for the record.
How are you?
Not that we don't know
Bo
you.
Holtz.
Hey, Bo, how are you? Carved sign,
Yes.
white, blue light background. Will it be backlit?
No.
Any lanterns, any
No.
lighting? Just a simple sign. Ham, any questions?
Okay.
Fine.
Fine.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign for Cordwell Banquer Bow House Realty on Job's Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
3x1 storefront.
Bo, you're not sticking around for, All right.
Denise Fenchel, Hampton Signs.
Custom jeans.
It's going to be raised individual letters put right into the building.
3 times 1. Interesting. Doesn't matter, doesn't have any bearing on the case, but what type of store is this?
Not a
It's
clue.
jeans, custom-made jeans.
Custom-made jeans.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. White background, just 3 black lettering?
Just a white
raised.
fascia of the building, and then the numbers pin mounted into the building.
Yeah, any questions?
Fine.
Esther?
It's good.
Brian?
Good.
Christine? Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign for 3 times 1 at 44 Main Street.
Second.
All in favor?
BBSV North Main.
Is the applicant present? Please step forward. Your name for the record.
George Benedict.
Hey, George, how are you?
George, can we get rid of the thing that says 3 new houses coming and just have
Whatever you want.
the house and
Just
then
tell me
the
what-
name?
tell me
It's a
what you
little more
want.
toned down.
Which one you want? What do you want me to eliminate? Easy.
Bishop's Court is fine on the top as the header, the image is fine, but the 4 new homes in Southampton, if we can tone that off.
Want that off?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just the,
So, just so I understand, it's Bishop Grant, it's the photo of the house itself.
That's
Underneath
correct.
it is 4 new homes in Southampton. You have the Beechwood logo on the side with, and the telephone number and,
Right.
very billboardish. We try to tone it down as much as we possibly can. That's what Ham was trying to explain to you. Can we narrow it down to photo of
Get rid
the,
of the image or make it black and white? You know, like a sketch form is what
I
we've
don't like
done.
black and white. I like
I
color.
know you do.
is this a temp, is
Slavic blood.
The temporary sign.
is it a temporary sign?
Yeah.
Do we have a date of, final?
We're waiting for approval from the Board of Health on the, certain
So you'd say
approvals.
it's there for less than a year?
Should, hope that it better not be. I made a mistake.
All right.
Temporary sign, I'd still say we tone it down just a little bit.
Just give me what you show me or give it back, I'll cross it off what you want, and I'll do it exactly what you want.
Can you get rid of the 4 new signs for Southampton Village? Just the 4 new homes?
We wanted to show the home that people were questioning us. They wanted condominiums over there. That's what happened. That's
I
why
know.
we put the 4. It's gonna be condominiums, they're all enthused. No, it's not gonna be 4 new homes. That's why we put that in there.
Okay. Brian, temporary sign?
I guess I'm okay with it. I would prefer it not to have an image, to be honest with you, but
Me too.
Christine?
To have what?
the picture, yeah.
Council, is there a way that we can put term 1 year? As an
We've
approval.
never term limited it before.
Seeing legally, do we have standing to do so?
I'd have to check.
I'm okay with it.
Esther?
I don't have an issue with it.
I have no
No, I'm
problem.
okay as long as we tone it down a little bit and we know it's not gonna start a thing where everybody's gonna put their image of their house up.
That's what I'm worried about. That's the reason why
Why don't you ask the applicant if he'll consent to that?
I'll take the image off, if that's what you want.
I think probably be better.
Okay.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Any public comment? Just take that part out,
Okay?
okay?
Good.
All right, sir.
All right. Motion to approve.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the application for BBSV North Main Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Otis Designs Corp. for contractor sign?
Mitt?
How do you pronounce that?
Entice.
Entice.
Yes, it's entice without any,
Okay.
without the,
Okay, you have your logo. You have Entice Design Corp., Design and Builders. Is there a way you can just remove the Design and Builders,
yeah, I can do
You
that.
can remove that? Telephone number, licensed and insured. Is that really a necessary?
Not really.
Okay. So if we can remove that, you'll be happy?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, can we make it all one color instead of blue and purple and black? Can we just make it all black?
I don't mind the color.
It's already made. I can take the other letters out, but it's already made that color.
Okay.
Well, you have that way on your shirt.
Yeah.
Just saying.
What?
That way you have it all one color. I mean, your name of your corporation on your shirt. Can you have it all black lettering on your sign?
Yeah, yeah, we can do that.
Good.
That's something you're willing to do.
What I was saying is the sign is already made. I have it already, so I will have to get another sign.
This board doesn't go under the illusion,
Yeah.
and nor is it the responsibility of this board to take in consideration that you already made the sign.
Okay.
We're approving the sign as
Turn the
is.
sign around so you can't see any of that. That'd be fine.
All right, no, that's fine. I can get it done.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the
we
way you
won't
want it.
ride down the road and automatically see an accident and we'll,
So what you want is all one color and
All one color.
and the logo.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
The logo can stay in the same
And
color.
that design and build off and the licensed and insured.
I don't mind your yellow logo.
Okay.
No, I don't mind that at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
cool.
That's
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All one color.
Yeah, sure.
Except for the
But the
logo.
yellow
which
is
you can
okay.
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
Brian?
I'm fine with it.
Christine?
Fine.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve?
I make a
With the
motion that we
conditions.
approve the signs for Entice Designs Corp., eliminating
Design?
design and build,
Licensed and
and
insured.
licensed and insured, and
All.
changing the blue to black.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
For the next one too.
Okay.
Michael Kirschman for architect sign.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm in.
Is that you?
Yeah, I'm representing him.
Good.
But wait a second, where is it?
Question, and this is the part where we always have an issue, a bunch of contractor signs on one lot. I'm assuming that this, as well as your sign, is gonna be on one lot?
Yeah.
So it'll be a yard full of signs, that what you're
It will
proposing?
be only two. That and mine.
We actually have encouraged to have the architect or the designer engineer and the contractor, and that's it. So no pool companies, landscapers, electricians, plumbers, HVAC guys, tile guys, blah, blah, blah.
It won't be any more signs. It will be just
Saying,
two.
since they're doing a sign, why don't they incorporate it into one sign?
Or stack it,
Stack it.
which is what we've tried to push. And you put one on top of the other?
I did that. I asked the architect to do that, and he didn't want to do it. But I can
Yeah,
I can
it's
ask
not-
him
he's
again and
not
see what
using it as
you know.
an action.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Simplifies
I,
it.
I like the simplicity of the sign, it's just that now we're gonna have multiple signs, and I'm sure at some point, what happens is it starts a trend, and then, not that they get approval, but the landscape guy start putting, pool guy starts putting stuff in, and it
I
just
understand.
becomes a billboard property.
So it should be in one and one.
We would prefer it.
Or stacked.
Or stacked.
Okay.
Have any questions about
No,
this?
sir. That's
Esther?
good.
It's beautiful.
Christine?
Very simple.
Ryan?
I'm fine with it.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign, the architecture sign for Michael Kirschman.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next
Country
application,
Club
please.
Prep, 66 Joe's Lane, storefront.
East Central Hampton signs,
These are all decals, correct?
decals, and one sign that goes up on the directory.
It looks like you just photoshopped and threw up a block. Is there a dimension on the actual sign that's going above?
It's on the next page, I believe. Is there a directory?
It's an existing sign.
Okay, so you're putting it on the directory itself?
Yes. The rest is vinyl lettering on the windows.
What color is the lettering on the windows?
It's a plaid.
Okay. Christine? Plaid?
Those are all different.
That's their
Yes.
brand. That's their brand.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I think for a preppy store, it's fun.
Yep.
Fine.
Happy stores.
No shit.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve Country Club Prep on Jove's Lane, the sign application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Next application, please.
Life by Muriel Brandolini, 42 Joe's Lane.
Denise
And the
Fenchel, Hampton
second one
Signs.
For window.
What, do you have your card out in front and then we'll just take it? Just a decal, correct?
There's actually 3 decals.
Is this
One
a
of the-
pop-up or is it there all summer? You don't know? Okay.
It's subtle.
It's
Typically,
very tiny.
we don't like.
Well, it's down the
multiple
alley too, so.
Down the alley, I understand that, but it's all surface facing one direction. Usually if there's decals, it's because there are different angles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind because it's very subtle.
Well,
Esther?
for the building and the location, I think it's appropriate.
I'm fine
Yeah.
with it.
Christine?
No, it's okay.
Brian?
Fine.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve Country Club Prep sign on Job's Lane.
No, we're at
Yeah.
Life by
Yeah,
Muriel.
Life by Muriel.
Next
Life by
one.
Muriel.
Oh, the next one. Oh, we did that. Life by Muriel Brandolini. Sorry, everybody. On Job's Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This for both of these guys?
I will
Yes,
recuse
for both.
myself on the next one.
Both of them?
Next
For both of
application is Hampton Lashes
So I get
at
both
67
signs.
Hampton
Are we doing
Road.
both signs on that one then?
Yes. There's two
Yeah.
different signs.
Hampton Lashes. Sorry, Muriel. What's the material of the sign?
Metal, yes, metal letters.
That's not over.
Cast what?
Denise is gonna be
One second, your name for the record, please.
Angela.
What?
Angela.
Angela whom?
Alban.
Okay.
Okay. And this is on the second floor?
Yes.
Okay, and is the sign lit?
No.
Why don't you just?
Well, yeah,
come up-
exactly. Why don't you- it's
Supposed
just-
to be doing it.
Yeah,
But she's gonna miss, I don't have an idea.
it's
Now,
okay.
The way this reads is not just Hampton Lashes, but it's something else that it says too, correct?
Skin by Veronica, what, is that?
That's
the-
already existing.
It's pre-existing?
Yes.
So your sign is just Hampton Lashes?
Yes,
Are
it's
you
going
replacing-
below
are you-
there.
Sorry, are you replacing the sign or is it stacked underneath it?
It's stacked underneath it.
Okay, can you show that to the, that's a lot of signage for that building.
Building has a lot of square footage too, though.
Uh-huh,
A lot of frontage.
right. And it's the same color as the one above it?
It'll match exactly.
Same finish? And I'm sorry, is it lit, backlit?
No, it is not.
Okay,
Just
very
three-dimensional gold letters on the building.
Okay, I'm fine
Is
with it.
the location of the, where it's located currently, which is above the window? Is there another location that are you just occupying that window space, that area itself?
No.
You're occupying the entire floor?
No, actually, we are on the low level.
What I'm
Here's
saying
the
is
lower
that
level.
Yeah,
this area
Also,
here.
we could move it
just-
down.
whatever you say, you know, I'm not a,
Well, I'm only saying that is because it would look as a separation. It looks a little tight here.
It would
Is this the exact location that you propose to
I would
place this?
propose moving it down
Move
over
it
the
down
other
so it's
window.
more
Yes.
defined as a separate.
Separation, so you can see where you're.
Right,
whatever.
yes, yes.
Whatever you say and whatever she's making, I'm fine.
Yes, yes. I
Okay.
propose we move it down.
Would
a little
probably
bit.
also look at a different font, so there's an actual distinction between the two. Is that a different font that would be?
It is a little different. We'd love to make it a different font. We're trying to keep it as uniform as possible to keep it,
Okay, well, it's,
You know.
it's narrow. If that's
Mhm.
the exact font, it's a little more narrow, correct? Same font, but it's not as bold.
right.
And when you drop it down, you'll see a separation. It'll press it down a little bit.
Okay. Brian?
Lowered, I think, is good, and it's very
Yeah, lowered
discreet.
is good.
So,
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign application for Hampton Lashes at 67 Hampton Road.
With the lowering.
With the lower.
With the lowering of the
Okay,
sign.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next application is Blowout, 36 Hampton Road. Good luck.
Denise Fenchel, Hampton Signs. These are three-dimensional letters also.
Okay, black,
Black
The
and
cor-
copper
the-
metallic.
copper metallic. And this is the correct font?
It is the correct font.
There are lanterns. Do you have samples or at least a rendering of what the lanterns are gonna look like?
Just the image that you see on the screen.
It's not giving much detail.
It's
Okay.
just a regular,
I personally would like to see more definition
Yeah,
The
I'm,
lighting, I agree. I'm
And
fine
I'm
with
a
the
little
type.
curious why we have Aaron Downey there and not just the name of the sign.
Sorry? You mean, it's blowout by, is that the
By.
entire name?
Blowout by,
Yeah, I
right.
I prefer just to see it blow out, otherwise it gets a little carried away. know
I
you're
don't
trying to
disagree.
Promote who that is.
Christine?
I would agree.
I think we should see what the lanterns look like.
Okay, what about the byline?
So it just says blowout instead of blowout by so-and-so?
That's what the suggestion is.
I just like blowout.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keep
I'd
it
be
simple.
okay approving it with blowout as long as we got
We
details on the
don't
land.
usually put owners' names on the sign.
So you can go back to your applicant, right now, we would need more detail on the lanterns.
Can we approve just blowout with the logo and take off Aaron Downey, and then I'll come back with the
a
lighting?
picture
Well,
from
then
the
you would
council.
have to come back with also the lantern rendering, so we wouldn't
That's what I mean, I'll
approve.
come back, but in essence, to save time for this person she's opening, to approve the sign without the lights, and I'll come back with a separate application for the lights.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it would be just blowout then?
Just blowout with the lines and the logo.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, well, wait, you have two different stuff. Did you have a option A and a option B?
There's been many changes. The
On what
one
two?
I'm proposing is the one with the 3 lights.
But you're not proposing the 3 lights now.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so there will just be blowout is the name of the sign itself.
Right,
There will be no lanterns.
yes. And then I'll come back for the lights.
Motion to
Whichever
approve
lights.
with the changes.
I make a motion that we approve the sign for blowout on Hampton Road, eliminating the lanterns and the name of the owner.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Cabana, 53 Jones Lane.
Denise Fenshaw, Hampton Signs.
Okay.
No lanterns?
No
Just
lanterns.
lettering? Black lettering?
Individual black letters, just like the neighboring signs.
Very clean. Yeah?
Good with it.
Esther?
Very good.
Christine?
Cool.
Brian?
Fine.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the sign application for Cabana on Job's Lane.
Thank you all.
All in favor?
Aye.
That concludes our sign permits for this evening. First application, historic.
Mr. Chair, Village of Southampton is proposing...
Wait. We have somebody here.
Sign application, do you have one for Gold Coast Bank? When I pulled up the agenda, it said number 15.
We did Coldwell Bank already.
No, Gold Coast.
No, we do
Gold
not
Coast
have a
Bank?
Gold
It's
Coast.
not on
no.
our agenda.
Because I have it on the,
the agenda on the website.
yeah,
Wait, she's
As
holding
a-
something.
as a sign.
She's holding something up at the back. We need to see.
Do we have the file? I don't think we do.
I printed this at like 5 o'clock, which does have a Gold Coast sign.
Is there a permit in there for
Is
Gold
it
Coast?
in the file?
Let's see it.
I have,
I saw it on one of the earlier agendas. I didn't see a file for it on our desk, so
on an earlier agenda than today.
I saw it on the website agenda yesterday. It's for
Oh,
3
yeah, this
signs
is
for
'cause I-
Gold Coast on Hampton Road,
But I
correct?
just pulled it up from the website now, it's on
I
there.
don't see it on our agenda. It's not on this printed one. And I don't see it, more importantly, we don't see it in the file itself.
It's not here.
All the applications were submitted.
It's definitely not here.
Is it
challenge-
something
It's
you
not a
can
last-minute
review?
trick or anything, it's
Well,
just not
well,
there.
we don't have a file to
We
review.
don't have a
so-
file, we can't look at it.
First, we don't have the file. Second, we don't have the actual permit itself. So technically, since it's not on the agenda, we don't have a copy of the file, we don't have the permit, we don't have standing to review the application right now. If we had that here, then we would be able to at least,
And we
Did you
can't
go
even
into the
adjourn
building
it because we don't have
department
the file.
Pay a fee?
I paid all the fees, yeah.
I'm not denying that you've followed process. Unfortunately, we can only handle what we receive.
Right, and there's
We don't have-
nobody
we
there
have no
today,
file here
or
today.
like, shoot, they're gone for the day.
Oh,
Just 'cause
yeah.
it's a
They
2-hour
were gone
ride
at
for me to get
3:55.
here. Right, so
Yeah.
there's no, okay.
I'm sorry. Concludes our sign for permits for this evening. First application, historic.
Mr. Chair, is a application from the Village of Southampton to place a clock tower next to the War Museum in the park. I don't know why,
Who's-
but
Who's presenting? Anyone presenting? Okay, we'll hold over for second call. Next application, please.
Sure.
Adjourned.
It's adjourned tomorrow.
Mo-
6/8.
Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn until 6/8/2015.
I make a motion that we approve the application of David and Holly Shaw's application to adjourn to our next meeting on Thursday.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application,
Lillian Trippett.
For the record, I'm Stuart Diston, representing Lillian Trippett. Last time, I guess a number of you were missing from the board. It basically came down to the doors and windows on the first floor. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we are submitting to remove the doors from the living room, except for the front door, but we would like to keep the windows as we've designed for the first floor, the window button design. I have that here.
get submitted to the,
So instead of changing the two double-hung windows facing post-crossing or to the north, you're going to keep those the way they are with a change in the light cuts only, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you're withdrawing the two doors there.
Correct.
Are there any other changes on the application?
No.
Zach?
Are you offering this as an option? Do you still want to argue a position of keeping one of the doors?
No, no, she's fine with it.
All right.
Saw your wisdom.
Yeah, no, we agree.
Thank you.
I don't have any issues with
It makes sense now. I mean, we were going back and forth, but we appreciate you making the
Please.
changes. We appreciate your applicant being cooperative. I don't have anything further. Zach, do you have anything further from a
No, I
historical
think-
standpoint?
I think this looks fine. I did have a chance to go inside and look at the sashes. That's not something that we can do, but it's pretty clear to me that this house was updated at some historic point. So in other words, it's not as built, maybe 1890, and then it kind of went through another
About 1925,
the 20s.
1930.
And just from the hardware alone on those sashes on the first floor, it seemed as if they had been updated. And if you look across the street, the slightly earlier houses, the sashes do match upstairs and down, which is just as usual. So in a sense, we're just guessing without going into great detail, but it's very likely that those downstairs sashes were already changed before.
Yep.
So my only concern was sort of restoring something back to a condition that never was, and that's kind of like a bad direction. But I don't think that's what's really happening here. So I think this is, from a design standpoint, it's very good looking.
Yeah.
And the applicant is doing a very big improvement on the house. That's much appreciated. It's an anchor house in the historic district.
Yep.
You're changing the material of the roof. The stain is
Taking off the aluminum.
very much so.
Yep.
It'll be a great
Big improvement.
improvement.
Esther, any comments?
I think it's spectacular, thank you, and please thank your client.
Okay.
Christine?
Thank you for making the changes.
Brian?
I'm fine with it.
Any public comment on the application? Please step forward.
Hi, my name is Susan Hofdesvin. I live at 95 Post Crossing. I can't believe that this is going through so easily.
Susan, you do realize that
The
there are
third.
changes made on the two proposed doors on the north side facing your house, that those are back to the original windows.
And what about the fireplace, the new fireplace?
The fireplace is to the rear of the building.
No, the
Freestanding
one,
fireplace?
the one that's being added on
The
to
one that's
the
to
addition.
the west side of the addition?
Yes.
It's 14 feet off of the grade, and it's 2 feet above the ridge line. As far as the building department is concerned, as far as New York State code, it meets the code. It's not as tall as it could be as well.
Okay. Well,
And then,
I think we know that this house has been recognized by the National Register of Historic
That's
Places.
why we told them no on the 2 doors.
Okay, can I finish, please?
Yeah, but I just want to say one thing. Were you at the last meeting, or have you seen the recording of the last 2 meetings? Just to bring it up
Yes,
to
I
speed.
saw a recording of the one meeting, and then it was adjourned last time.
Right, okay.
So
Thank you.
I did watch it.
Yep.
It's also recognized throughout the document that is your guideline for historic homes. It's on the pages multiple times that this is a Queen Anne Victorian that is significant to this village. And I saved my windows. I haven't changed my facade. 77 Elm Street, never changed their facade. 92 Post Crossing has never changed their facade. It says in your guidelines, adding chimneys where they are not historically appropriate. Generally, gable and brick chimneys are not found on historic houses in Southampton and should not be added to existing buildings. I can go through line after line of where there are mistakes being made to this beautiful home. You can't just take porches off and put new porches on. I mean, this isn't just any old house. This is a house that has been recognized nationally and locally. And it's your job to save it. That's what preservation is, to save it from harm.
What specifically is your problem?
Issue.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. I think I'm a,
Well,
I'm a,
it's all
I've
sounding problematic to me. What is your concern that's being changed?
Okay, well, I mentioned one, the chimneys.
And
That's a new addition.
That's a new addition, Susan.
That's very
and it's-
different
and it's
from
an
adding a
addition
chimney.
off
Let-
the-
let-
Why don't we
let
let
Zach-
Zach talk?
Just briefly, just to get to your specific point, which I think is quite important. A chimney associated with an addition is very different from suddenly adding a chimney up the side wall of an existing house. And I think that's the significance of that you're quoting. And I just want to make
Well, it says it shouldn't be added to existing buildings. I mean, these are the guidelines.
This is a new structure, this is a new addition, just to be clear. What's being proposed, as I read this, the chimney in this design is associated with a piece of new construction. It's an addition to the building. It's not a chimney that's being built on to the old house.
Well, there's an extension that was built in the 70s.
Which is being replaced,
being
as far as I
removed.
can see.
Which is being replaced.
With an entirely new design. And the chimney that's being proposed is associated with that. You can't govern every improvement on a property based on the fact that the principal dwelling is a contributing structure. I also want to just point out, just to be clear, so everyone understands the kind of vocabulary, every single contributing building in the historic district, of which there are approximately 430, are on the National Register. They are considered identically whether they were individually listed or whether they are a member of the group. And so this house and approximately 12 others on the block are considered equally listed on the National Register. There's no added value as to the date, as to the size, as to anything. These are all contributing elements in the district, and as such are listed on the National Register and are recognized locally as well. This particular structure is not considered exceptionally on the National Register. It's just one of the 400 and some odd that are. That's what
And
it is.
didn't you give a walking tour of our neighborhood 2 years ago?
Probably.
And what house did you point out to be of significance to this village?
And it is significant.
I can think of many, but this is,
You don't stop and pay attention to that house and say, this one's really special. Have you done that on a walking tour?
yes, I have.
So it's special. And it's noted nationally as well as in the guidelines. There's
Simply trying to make
photograph.
clear that that's what's special about our entire village.
No.
Whole village
That's
is on
not
the
true. There are certain homes that have significance, and this is one of them. And it's going to be changed, and it may not affect our lifetime, but in the next generation to come, people aren't going to know this house the way that we know it today. It's just a simple fact. It's as if I took the turret off of my house.
I think yours is a false argument, and I want to suggest that when it comes to the board's judgment, we fought tooth and nail to save some crenellations on the top of a certain tower, which is very near this intersection. So don't suggest that this board is not concerned about saving historic
What?
properties.
You're the historian. I thought you would be.
you.
I thought you would be up here, really working to save this property. I mean, I'm shocked.
I think we are. I think we are.
And I think we,
And I
You're removing porches. You're adding porches. You're putting a deck off of the addition. The roof line is changing.
Susan, on the public right-of-way, on your side of the street, Post
Right.
Crossing, the changes that we fought for were not changing the fenestration on the first floor. The original portion of the house was changed probably in 1920 and 1930. The applicant wanted to put 2 doors in that would make, and they've withdrawn that. The applicant wants to put a cedar roof in, which is great. The applicant wants to get rid of the aluminum on the appliques on the house. That's great. The porch that they're removing is on the on the south side of the house in their backyard. We're very careful to look at that. The porte cochere is being inset, not moved on the outside, so the shell and the fenestration stays intact. The main house is not touched. It's improved. So I'm happy with it.
Okay, well, that's what
However,
matters. That's what
With that
matters.
said, the addition that is being done is a 1-story addition off to the side. It's not an additive massing, but it's a submissive addition to the original house, which is not being touched with the chimney.
Well, they're removing the addition that is there.
It's being, the one in the back or the one on the south side is being reworked so that it's actually better, as far as I'm concerned, from the public right away on Elm Street. And
Well, it's the west side of the house.
the west
That's
side of the
the
house is where
addition.
the addition is, and the fireplace stands west of it,
Mhm.
which is 14 feet tall.
Right.
So
So it's visible from the street. It's going to change, the roof
visible
line's
as a
changing.
one-story appendage from the street, but it's not breaking any new barriers.
And from a
Closer to
design
your house.
standpoint, it's a big
Okay.
improvement.
All right.
It's a big improvement over what's there now.
Really?
Well, and what was proposed was knocked down. So I think this board has worked pretty hard in this village with what it has on its code and what it has in front of it to suggest that the guidelines, not suggest, to enforce the guidelines. And the proof of that is that the applicant has come back on this one to the identified areas of fenestration and has essentially withdrawn them.
thank you for your
Thank you.
comments. Any more public comment? Anything further from the board? Anything further from our historic consultant? Okay, application and property is located in the historic district and therefore requires written decision by this board. So at this time, we will close the application for written decision. We will empower our council to prepare that within our next meeting. Any questions?
No.
Motion to close for written decision.
I make a motion that we close the application for Lillian Trippett on Post Crossing for written decision by our council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next application,
Scott Willett.
closed for written decision by council.
And in the file, Mr. Chairman, is a decision, but there is a technical error with the affidavit of posting. So I'm requesting that, I've contacted the owner's representative to correct the error. That can't be done by this evening. I'm requesting that the board adjourn this for all purposes to the next regular meeting.
But it's already adjourned, so we just follow over, wouldn't it? Okay. Next application, please.
Walter Attaway, 43 Jobs Lane for exterior alterations.
Written decision?
Written decision is in the file approving the frame and panel version of the options that were given. An affirmative vote on the motion would be to approve the application.
Motion to approve written decision by council.
I make a motion that we approve the written decision by our council for Walter Attaway on Job's Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Dean Shaproff, 218 Wyandanch, for construction of a new 2-story dwelling.
Evening, I'm John Lack, the architect for Mr. and Mrs. Shafro. I have my posting and mailings. And these are, I have 5 copies of
I'm getting
John, you're taking down the existing stucco house?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
It was
And you're proposing?
Zach?
This?
We're proposing to build a.
And which side is facing Wyandanch as we're looking at it?
This face, this is straight.
Facing which way? Is this the west?
This would be the, west.
And the public right-of-way, the other public right-of-way, which is the water side?
The water side is this side.
So you'll see that from Old Town Pond,
You'll see
correct?
this side from Old Town Pond.
Okay, and what is your ridge height on this house?
33 feet.
And the materials are brick chimney, and what's the roof material?
The brick is Glengarry Danish blend. The brick is going to be the roof is a natural cedar. We're going to let go. Natural, and the side walls are East Everett cedar. We're going to stain with a wood gray and a combination of beech wood.
Is there a pool house that's going to be on this property?
Pool house is integrated into the house itself. It's a portion of the gambrel itself.
So the existing pool house, what happens with that?
The existing pool, which is currently on the site, is going to be removed.
Uh-huh.
And there's going to be no accessory structures on the property, just the main structure itself.
And how far back is the house from the street?
The front of the house is 110 feet from the property, and the back of the house.
From Wyandanch, correct?
Sorry, from Wyandanch Lane.
And how far back from Old Town Pond, from the water's
Town
edge?
Pond, it's approximately 230 feet to the, it's actually further away than the old house. And we've taken the.
Flood zone, right?
No, not really. We just wanted to get as much property to the backyard of more
And
grass.
does this house fall within the FEMA zone at all?
No,
Okay.
no.
Is your intent to bring up the grade on this property any more than the 2 feet that we have?
No, it's not. The existing house is set at elevation 17.6, and we tend to keep it that way.
Okay.
Just procedurally speaking, Zach, so that we know for record purposes, existing structure not contributing?
Well, eventually. But no.
And what is the landscape on the Wyandanch side right now? You currently have just hedges that are going along there?
It's the client's intent to follow the landscaping with the adjacent neighbor to the south and to the north. And it's going to be about, it looks to be about 14 feet high of privet with a combination of, behind the privet there'll be either arborvitaes or cedars, just a little privacy.
Single driveway entrance or dual?
It is currently, the single driveway is in the middle of the property.
How big is that?
We propose to move that single driveway over to the north.
To the north? Okay.
Dormer right side, just for future references, say right, left, just note the file as east-west, north-south. Just makes it easier for us to identify.
So your west side or facing Wyandanch is, again, the turret side?
This is driving down Wyandanch. This is to the
East.
This is to the.
That's looking east, correct?
This east side is here in the back of the house. This is the south side.
But from our perspective, John, we're going to see that tower from Wyandanch, correct?
Yes, you'll see the whole facade from Wyandanch behind as much as you can. It's sort of like the Goldbrooks house. It's going to be fairly
Okay.
massive.
And that's back about 100 feet, did you say?
110 feet.
And then can you spin it around one time so we can see what it looks like from Old Town? That's about 230, you said.
230.
Is that 230 from the integrated pool house or 230 back to the main house?
230 to the face of the pool house.
Okay, is there any way you can hand that over and we just bring it up a little closer? As best as possible. Thank you for the detail.
Oh, you're welcome. I don't know if you had you couldn't really see a better copy of the survey, but this is the existing pool is here. We're going to get rid of that. And the existing house is actually here. And my start of the end of the structure is about 10 feet back from the existing house as it sits on the property today.
So the stucco house is coming down
Yes.
and your footprint is basically the same. I don't have any issues with this.
And you have mature landscaping all around the perimeter of the property.
It's a little scrabbly some places, we're gonna need to reinforce
So
it.
I think the landscape plan would be really helpful.
You have one proposed.
We do not have one proposed currently.
Okay. Secondly, I see driveway gates that also being proposed as part of the application.
Yes, they are. They'd be brick, Glengarry Danish Bren to match with the existing chimneys. There's a herringbone pattern in the brick. I'm sorry for that small picture. It's on the site plan.
And the distance or the spacing between the pickets?
I think we need to see the driveway gates as well.
little more detail.
Detail, please.
The lanterns are above the pillars. Will that be frosted or will it be clear?
They'd be frosted.
Be frosted?
Yes.
Okay. A little more detail on the driveway gates. Other than that, design is beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Brian?
I would like to just see it like a Google Earth aerial showing how it relates to the neighbors.
So
It's a very wide house.
So I put on this is the.
There's your
Thank
Google
you.
Earth.
Yeah, what else do you want to see?
So,
3 wishes.
here's
Turn that towards the TV, John, please. That's your Google Earth, right?
So we have, sorry for the crease in the paper. So we got the neighbor to the south, and then we have Ms. Schaffner's current location, current house. Then we have the neighbor's house, and then we have Mr. Goldberg's house. I don't know this gentleman. And just to sort of give you a better idea as to what that might look like, this is the current location of the house. And we put this. Now I've just applied my site plan to this site plan. So you can see where my house is actually sort of really just still behind these, my adjacent neighbors. And my new driveway is supposed to come straight now as it turns. And just want to show you how to relate to it.
That's very helpful, thank you.
It is helpful, but the landscape plan would actually be more helpful. You have a lot of decking, entertainment area. Obviously, there will be some questions about privacy. What is the distance between the, I should say, what the innermost distance between where the structure meets both side yards?
On the north side.
On the north side.
Side yard setback or side yard vertical surface to the neighbor to your north.
Looks like
Well,
30 feet.
I can't speak to my neighbor to the north, unfortunately, but I could try and get a gander, a guess.
Looks like you're right on your setback.
We're right on setbacks, yes.
It's 30 feet.
It's like 30
It's 30 feet on the neighbor to the south, we're 30 feet, and from the neighbor to the neighbor to the north, we're 30 feet, neighbor to the south, we're
50.
50 feet on the, we're 50 feet on the,
I get it.
on the angle. I would address, though, that the neighbor, about privacy and deck, is he's a fairly large, big deck here too, and on his property, there's a fairly decent screening as far as the cryptomerias that they have over there. We intend to try and help that buffer, because we don't want to necessarily see them either.
Okay, and that's great, and it's nice that it's an attempt. It would be nice to have an actual formal landscape plan to identify it and be part of the approval process as well. Well, I'm sure there's some, just check to see if there's any public comment, but I don't think there's any issues with design, correct?
I'm just concerned it's a little wide for the
Little
lot.
wide.
I think it's
Yeah.
wide.
You still have issues with the massing?
I do.
Yeah, the design, no, but the massing, yes.
Any public comment on the application?
It's so close to the setback.
I can't see over your board, I'm sorry. No public comment? With regards to the massing, you think it's, are you saying that it needs to be tailored down, be tempered down? Are you, is there a?
Let's look at the landscape plan and
Okay.
see.
What's the size of the property, John?
It's It's 1.8863 acres, so it's a little less than 2 acres, or it's 82,169 square feet.
How many square feet is the house?
House in total is a little over 11,000 feet. It's 9,000 feet of first and second floor house and 2,000 feet of, the massing has to, this is the indoor pool that we wanted to, so this whole portion, this L-shaped portion, is where the pool is, so it's part of the massing of the house.
Is that a two-story space?
It is, yes.
Wow, that's gonna be nice.
All right, so we're looking for detail on the driveway gates.
Landscape plan?
Landscape plan, a more intricate landscape plan. It would be nice that you identify existing in comparison to what's being added, so we can get a distinction of how much you're adding to that. Information on the lanterns, a little detail on the lanterns on the pillars for the driveway gates. Really was no detail in the file.
Yeah, and if I just took them off and if I just put gates, if I put gate lights in.
It's your
on the-
discretion, I'm just saying as part of the application, if there's lanterns there, there should be a little more defined.
Okay.
Anything further, board?
And the spacing on the gates,
And the spacing between the pickets.
as open as possible. No more questions.
They look pretty narrow, I just wanted, for the record purposes, I want to get an actual number.
I'll have to get you the detail for
It's fine. If there's nothing further from the public, you're requesting this board to adjourn so you can prepare your application properly. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant, Jean Shafiroff, 218 Wyandotte.
Second.
Adjourn to our next meeting at the applicant's request.
It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And our final historic application for the evening.
Final application is Stellar Union.
Good evening.
Your name for the record?
Anthony Hobson. Please excuse me for not bringing you extra copies of the drawings. I wasn't privy to that, so I only have one small set and two larger ones up there.
What are you proposing?
I'm proposing a
Before we
renovation.
start, structure, historic or non-historic?
I have to see it. I didn't.
Commercial building on North Sea Road, it's the old furniture store. It's a furniture store, right?
It's a furniture store now, but I think it was previously a butcher shop or liquor store. It's near Public House and Tate's.
Where Palmer's Liquors used to be?
Mid-century modern furniture.
No.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Just for the record, no, correct?
Okay.
I should say historic district, non-contributing.
Non-contributing. Yes. Okay, basically, we're looking to renovate and refurbish the existing building, remove the existing vinyl siding and replace it with white cedar. I have 3 samples here. The clients and I prefer the Arbor Coat Silver Gray over the white and the natural cedar. There's a brick facade on the, call it the southeast side, more or less. It's, if you're facing the building, it's on the left-hand side. We're proposing to remove the brick and have a glass storefront where it opens up from inside to outside, and to give the building a better sense of itself, because right now it seems a little dark. And proposing light scoops versus skylights.
Talk a little bit about those light scoops. First time I've seen.
Light scoops?
Yeah.
Basically, a light scoop is just an angled skylight, more or less.
Water bottle.
Excuse me?
An upside-down water bottle.
The light scoop will actually help this building because it's not going to allow direct lighting inside.
Okay.
Because my clients have, vintage furniture, artwork, paintings, what have you. So we don't want any of that to be deteriorated or affected by the sun. And also, with this past winter, we've seen that we have a lot of snow. So therefore, getting the light scoops up above the roof slightly will help with any potential leaks or what have
What's
you.
the height of the top of the light scoop from the top of the roof? You're showing it as 3.5 feet tall on the plan.
Yes.
A501?
Yes, sir.
But what is the ridge, or what is the height of the first story? It's still a 1.5-story building, right?
It's actually 15 foot 1 to the top of that
So
parapet.
you're gonna be 18 or 19 feet above grade then.
Correct, but they give or take, call it, they're about 10 feet inboard of the perimeter of
So the
the building.
setback on a pitched roof.
Yes, and it's pitched towards the whole building is
Towards the
pitched
north?
towards the west. It's pitching west.
Oh,
It's
okay.
one big mono pitch, and it's an existing EPDM roof right now.
Christine, comments?
No.
Anyway,
Brian?
I think it's a huge improvement. I think it's an
Esther?
exciting design.
I like it a lot. It's a wonderful interpretation.
Ann?
I think it's great. Is your signage integral with the design at this point?
Yes, sir. If you look on page 501, A501, number 2.
And is the color that you're proposing, what is that?
Basically, this is the client's logo, but the actual color, I'm thinking now, maybe it would be like a weathered gray finish, like a raised letter made of
Okay,
teak.
but it's 22 inches, it's the lettering that's integral, right? Which is
Yes.
within our code. Okay.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Any public comments on the application? The property is located in the historic district, and even though it's a non-contributing structure in the historic district, it requires written decision by council.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll close the meeting, close the application for this evening, and empower our council to prepare that written decision at our next meeting.
In your next meeting.
Next meeting. Any questions?
Mailing
No?
function.
One question on my end. Where's our certificate of posting and affidavit of posting and notice? Because this is a very public application, do we have one for the 4 neighbors? And I know that you stopped a written decision because you didn't have the proper affidavits, right? So,
You have your affidavits of posting and mailing?
Excuse me?
Your affidavits of posting and mailing.
the notification process in the
Right.
village is
Uh-huh.
that there's a posted sign.
The sign is actually on the door right now.
Okay, and well, it's supposed to be visible from the street.
Yes.
Okay, and you need an affidavit that it's been posted at least 10 days prior to tonight's meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll need that for the next meeting, the affidavit of posting. There's also a list of neighbors, I think that we just pulled it up.
Yeah.
Got that.
Those were all mailed out to the neighbors.
Those were mailed, so.
Yes.
Fine, so you need an affidavit that says that you've mailed those out too. So it's 2.
What we will do is we'll close the meeting for this evening.
Okay.
You will not receive an approval on the application until that's part of the file. So the
Okay.
application will be closed for this evening. Our council will prepare the written decision. We will check the file to make sure that all the items are in the file to be
Okay.
complete.
Gotcha.
If they're not here at the next meeting, or if we can't verify that the posting and mailing was done accurately, we can't approve the application.
With respect to the application, if the affidavit of posting wasn't completed, affidavit of mailing wasn't completed, and a neighbor comes in and says they were never notified, wouldn't they want to comment on the application itself?
So you're suggesting we leave it open?
I'm suggesting we leave it open until the affidavits of posting and mailing are done. It is in the historic district, but
I would
I think
agree.
the application looks great.
Yeah, I think that's pretty.
Okay, I think it protects you as well as the board.
Gotcha.
There's no
Thank you.
argument with that. Anything further from the public? Anything further from the board?
Nope.
Okay. You're requesting the board to adjourn. You'll have that information at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant's request to adjourn to our next meeting for Stella Union LLC on North Sea Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That,
Get a drink of water.
absolutely. That concludes our historic applications for this evening.
Mr. Chair, the first application is Barbara Wilson.
You had left the clock tower open.
Southampton Village present? Southampton Village.
I'm just gonna get water.
Did they forget where we were? All right, motion to adjourn.
You don't have a motion on the deck, so you just file hasn't been opened on that, so you don't need to do anything.
Okay. For first application, non-historic.
Chairman, can we have our consultant look to see if there are clock towers near a historic structure in the village? Since this is next to the war memorial.
I was waiting for the conversation and dialogue to open up to get a little understanding from the applicant as to why it's being proposed, especially in this location.
Correct.
And
We
then,
also have
I would ask the consultant to
Thank you.
be part of the discussion, the dialogue, and give some historical on why.
Okay.
First application, non-historic.
Barbara Wilson, 165 Elm Street.
Hi, could I ask for a second call?
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you.
Next application.
48 Old Town Crossing.
Council?
In the file,
What did she ask for? That meeting?
She asked for a second call, so she's going to ask to come back. She's not prepared.
Tonight.
Yes.
She's gonna come back tonight.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine.
in the file is a decision approving the application as modified. Vote for the application will be to approve the same.
No talk, no table. Yes, please. Board members, any issue, comments, concerns about the approval?
This is on 48?
Yes.
No.
No.
Motion to approve council's written decision for 48 Old Town Crossing.
I make a motion to approve council's written decision on 48 Old Town Crossing LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next
Goodrich.
application, please.
Goodrich, Southampton.
Applicant's
a letter.
request to adjourn till the 22nd. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
Make a motion that we approve the applicant's Goodrich Southampton LLC, which is Rite Aid, request to adjourn to our meeting on
What's that?
June 22nd.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Southampton to 2014 LLC, 101 Pleasant Lane.
Is the applicant present? The applicant present. Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn the application for Southampton 2014 LLC at 101 Pheasant Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next application, please.
Next
Sorry.
application is Kim Smith, 90 Pierpont Street, for driveway gates.
I need to recuse on this, Antoinette?
Sorry, guys.
It's okay. 90 Pierpont Smith. Yep. I didn't see it yet. Here we go, little housekeeping.
Hi, your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Franzisi. I'm the project architect for Brian Brady. The application before you is for driveway gates.
Are they iron gates?
Yes.
Black?
Yes. Painted.
Spacing between these lattice.
The spacing between the stakes is 4 inches on the top, and at the bottom there, it's 9 inches.
Any lanterns being proposed?
No.
And the setback. Okay. Pam, any questions?
No issues. I think it's actually what we look for.
Christine?
No, it looks good.
Esther?
Very handsome, very appropriate.
Any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application for Kim Smith at 90 Pierpoint Street for the driveway gates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next application,
Bert Greenberg.
Bert Greenberg, 146 Coopers. This is for front entry, correct?
146 Cooper's Farm.
Board members. Paul Delzato, applicant. As requested from last time we were in front of the board, he made the
changes to the front door.
You seen this one here?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it.
No, this is
So
an old one.
these are the plans you
This is
submitted on the
May 7th.
29th?
Yes.
So that's this. So I think that's better.
Brian, comments?
I think what you did is a huge improvement over what was there. I would still like to see the roof come down. I still think it's a little out of scale. I think it's the transom that's doing it, raising it above the roof line, and that's sticking up a little too high. I'd just like to see that come down.
That's actually not a transit window.
Okay?
It's actually just going to be a white piece of wood to match the other details to the peaks on the other details of those 4 little return houses. So it's not going to be a window. It's going to be a flat surface underneath, B-board underneath.
Okay. Then even it should come down
Mhm.
because of that.
Definitely come down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the door is 7'6", so the height with the transom on top, 7'6", so you don't really have much of a height of an entrance for front door and the light, the transit above the window.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much room even for a chandelier for underneath the front door for light.
But you just said there is no transom.
Well, the door itself, I thought you were talking about that little pyramid that's up in the eave right there above the door.
No.
That little,
No, the
Kind of that little
the
thing?
whole gable, the whole
whole-
roof thing should come down.
Right.
I'm basically saying you should eliminate the transom because it looks too
Tall.
tall.
too tall.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could open it up inside and do a barrel or something inside that and put a lantern.
Okay, so eliminate the transit above the window.
It's just, yeah, it's just a little, sticking up a little too much.
Okay,
Christine?
I agree.
Esther?
I would bring it down
okay.
and
Pam?
eliminate the transom.
Yes.
Any public comment on the application? So you'll prepare that for our next meeting?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much.
Request the board to adjourn so you can have that prepared, correct?
Yes. Thank you.
Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant Bert Greenberg on Cooper's Farm Road request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Next application,
Michael
please.
Antonio, I don't know, on 76 Pine Street.
Is the applicant present?
Pine Street?
Yes.
Now, when you were here last time, we did a lot of clarification on the one elevation.
Yeah, I made a lot of changes. I'll go over that with you.
All right, you want to walk us through?
Yeah. Okay, my name is Kyle Roos.
What's this?
You can give this to me when you leave the board.
What is this?
That's Greenberg, that's the previous one. This goes in the other file. It's,
RUHS.
Kyle, go ahead.
Okay. So, listening to your suggestions from last time, we, on the Pine Street side, we lowered the front porch roof about 2 feet. All the windows are now the same side on that elevation. On the roof, the main roof, we changed the gable ends to hips. I lowered the ridge over 2 feet by changing the pitch. I added the facade on the front, the gable
Can I see the elevation?
facade on the front at the front door on the Burnett side. I removed the center dormer that you requested and changed 2 other dormers on the Burnett side.
Okay. Kyle, I got a question for you. The 4/1 double hungs that are there, is this an AutoCAD glitch where there's a spacing between the panelization and the top head casing of the windows? Where there's shingle running across?
Well, those are...
Facing Burnett?
Those are double units.
Okay. Is that stucco above, or is it a panelization?
That's going to be Versatex.
So it's panelized?
Versatex panel with Versatex batten.
And you changed the frieze from 1x4 to 1x6?
Correct.
Right?
Brian, comments?
I think it's a huge improvement. I like the changes that you made to it. I'm just curious about the north side elevation. What are all these small windows here? I don't have plans in front of me, so I'm just...
Well, the house next door is very close. I wanted to get light, but I also wanted to give them some privacy.
You talking about these guys?
They're facing into bathrooms, and one is the actual stairwell.
And are those egress?
No, they're not egress.
They're up high, right? They're about 5 feet above?
Yeah, because the wall is short on the second floor.
Right, right.
Anything else, Brian?
No, that's it.
Christine?
No, I think, I'm thanking you for the changes that you made. I do have some curiosity about the north side and those small windows, within the arched windows at the bottom.
Yeah, well, I mean, the function is, well, two things. One is they're at a side of the house that you're never going to be able to see. Number two, I wanted to give them privacy because their neighbor is very close, and at the same time bring light into the house, because that is that's the north side of the house, so it's ambient light, but that was the purpose of those, to keep their privacy, because there's 2 bathrooms on that side of the house there. Most of those windows are in bathrooms.
Anything further?
And the room, where the rounded windows are, that's the dining room?
That's the dining room, yes, correct.
Okay.
Esther?
Again, I only have an issue with the north side of the house. I feel the arched windows would probably be more appealing if they were rectangular in shape.
That was a request of the owners, and it's also windows that nobody's ever going to see them.
I understand. Other than that, I have no issue.
Yeah.
I think the applicants listened to our suggestions, followed them to the T. It looks good. I like it. I like the improvements. I like the hip. That was the main improvement. Brought the house, grounded it down. We talked about the fenestration last time around. I'm happy with the improvements.
I only had one question on the north side, like you seated your door. I'm assuming that's a AutoCAD error?
Say that again, please?
There's a little seam.
Well, that's a
outdoor shower?
Outdoor shower.
Outdoor shower.
Yeah.
So we don't have a set of plans here. That's your outdoor shower?
Yes.
It's cedar, or it's so cedar around. So you
All right.
hide it.
Other than that, thank you for making the changes that you've made. Thank you for being cooperative during this process. We understand that sometimes it's difficult when you're trying to satisfy the applicant's needs and also standing before a board who's giving advice and trying to direct you in a way, in a manner that is respectful to the community. So we appreciate your time.
Okay.
Any public comment on the application? Anything further from the board? Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the application of Michael and Antonio, 76 Pine Street. Is that what you pronounce it? Iano?
Iowano.
Iowano, okay. On 76 Pine Street.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Glenn Kurtz, 285 Old Town Road.
I'm recused on this one, too.
Hi, my name is Violanda Franzisi. I'm a project architect for Brian Brady. The application before you is for a house located at, for a new house located at 285 Old Town Road that has open views to the east overlooking a reserve of wildflowers. We're proposing a house in a traditional style with a mansard roof. In your package, we've included a rendering. And if you notice, we intentionally kept the dormers off just to keep the massing of the house low.
So Widows Walk accessible.
It is accessible only through a hatch, though.
I'm sorry?
Through a hatch it is, through an attic and then through a hatch.
And what is the height of that to the top of the railing of the Widow's Walk?
The height of the ridge is 33, and the railing, what we did is we recessed
You're standing within the
down.
roof?
Right, so you're
Yeah.
standing within the roof.
Now, how many
So you
square
brought it
feet is
down.
the area?
The area, oh, that little area? It's about 200, I don't have the exact number, but it's about 200 square feet.
So if you're standing within the observation space, if you will, of the inset
Survey and
hatched walkway,
Yes.
how tall would your head be?
Well, it's recessed down 3'6", so 3'6".
18 inches then? Okay.
I mean, we have issues, we have concerns about second-story decks. If we go on Widows Walk, I think we would, from at least from a line of sight, would have some challenges, some issues with neighboring property, at least to a point of view.
Okay, well,
Even with the 3-inch or 3-foot inset, it's still going to give you an optical on each side of the house.
well, the house is you have an aerial map. The house is shielded on, if you notice, pretty well shielded on all three sides. And what you can see from that Widow's Walk would be the back of a garage, the back of two garages. So you're not really looking into the house. You're not looking at living space. You're actually looking at the back of two garages.
Would you mind passing that around? please?
Sure. I think it's also in your package, but
Oh, sorry.
You're correct, it is here.
I don't know. I would have difficulty.
I think this starts a precedent in the village.
Yeah.
I don't see this happening.
One question, Zach, it's not in the historic district, but it's that area, that kind of sensitive
Right,
community that at some point, sometime, maybe a discussion about extending the line. In terms of the overall, I'm sorry? In terms of the overall aesthetics.
And do you want the color renderings as well?
we would be willing to reduce the size if that would make a difference.
Reduce the, I'm sorry?
The square footage of that little Widow's Walk.
I would rather not accessible, to be honest with you.
It's a very handsome design. It's really beautiful. But I think the issue that you have is the
I
accessibility.
don't know. I think the access, the fact that it's through a hatch and it's not every day helps the argument a lot.
It's not easy access because you really have to go through an attic to get to the, to the stairs that lead to the hatch. So it's not
Yeah,
something.
it's still accessible. Bottom line, you're there.
Still-
So there's a visual impact being there, just being present. I would have difficulty starting that precedent.
If this were a square roof or a flat roofed house, that was something that we have on North Main Street, a true Widow's Walk, or a true, I would have no issues with it. In fact, I would encourage it. But this sitting on a hip roof, opposite Old Town, just to the west of a major anchor going into our village, I've got a big issue with it. And right behind it is Old Town. So I appreciate the challenges that you have. And if it were smaller, I think it would be more acceptable to me. But 200 square feet is a fairly substantial area. So if you wanted to go back and modify that a little bit, because I know it's something that you'd use for astronomy, or something that you'd use on a once or twice a year, and it wouldn't be a daily use for it, but it just doesn't seem to fit into the line.
Okay, what would be acceptable, or would you consider
I
something?
think you could come up with an option or two.
Okay.
I wouldn't hope for it.
Don't look at me, I'm absolutely against it.
Ruling against it.
I'm
Okay.
absolutely against it.
I think it starts a precedent.
Okay.
In an area that's highly important. I mean,
Even if it were not accessible?
even if it were not accessible, I think it shows, it doesn't belong.
I don't question your integrity or any of the applicant's integrity. What happens is accidents happen. So it's there, and at some point it gets finished and it becomes accessible. I think it just sets the wrong precedent.
Okay, so you would want the railing removed altogether and the whole,
I think it would be an easier approval process, because I think the house is very, very good looking, very handsome. I think the issue, it sounds like we all have an issue with the setting of a precedent
okay,
for potential future access.
okay.
Christine, you have comments?
No, I agree.
I would be fine with the application
Be
if it
careful
were
about
removed
setting
and
a
the ridge
precedent.
line stayed static across the top, as it's directing from the north to south.
Okay.
The elimination of it. But as far as it being inclusive into an integral part of the design, it's a reach.
Okay.
The accessory structure, the garage, two-bay garage, same material, same style,
Yeah, the same material to match the main house.
very modest.
The proportions are very graceful, the materials.
Don't want to discount, Zach, your opinion about at least the area, the design, the aesthetics, material being used.
I think it's all great. In fact, I think the roof railing is decorative. And it, because there's just the one chimney on the one side, oftentimes you might have two sort of brought in more to the massing of the house. So the fact that your chimney is all the way off to the one side, it seems that the decorative railing up at the top is
It's very
kind of an
attractive.
attractive element. It wouldn't have to be an accessible space to get to, it's just a.
Right, decorative.
And it complements the railing that sits on top of the entryway, too. So I don't think aesthetically that in itself it's objectionable, it's just that it's.
The functionality is a problem.
The functionalities.
Any public comment on the application? Please step forward. You can just leave way and see if there's any public comment.
I'm just up here
Your
because
name
I
for the
want to see
record.
what it looks like.
Your name for the record.
Diane Deutschman, 200 Lewis Street. And I received a notification from Mr. Brady's office that my property is within the distance of this.
Yes, ma'am?
Okay, I just wanted to see what it looked like.
Do you have any comments or any questions?
No, I agree with him about this.
Don't throw
But
me under the
otherwise, I
bus.
think it's very nice.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more comments? Please step forward.
Is this the house?
Your name for the record,
You said
please.
it was a mansard roof?
Your name for the record?
Susan Stevenson, I live in the village on Toilsome Lane. Did you say it was a mansard roof?
It's a hipped roof.
Oh, I thought you said mansard. And I was going to say, since when was that a traditional style in the village? But maybe I misunderstood you. I have nothing to say then.
No comments?
No.
Okay.
I do, mansard.
Any public comment? Anything further? Anything further from the board? Okay, it seems to be the overall objection of this board that the Widow's Walk be removed.
Are you looking for, sorry, are you looking for an approval on the application of the house without the widow's walk or the structure itself this evening?
One second.
Yeah, you might wanna-
I
We would like to keep the railing, but we won't make it
you're gonna come
accessible.
back with an option.
Well, we won't make it accessible.
I'm not in agreement with the railing there. Just me personally. Board members, your opinion, I'm only one person here.
I'd like to see a redesign, how it would look without the railing and but with the understanding that it's not accessible.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay?
Let's just understand something. Even if it were non-accessible, I would need to see plans or at least architectural plans showing it. There would be no accessibility to the Widow's Walk if this board, as an overall decision, decide to go further. So either way, you would have been adjourned for this evening.
Okay.
Okay?
Giant padlock on this side of where the hatch
I
is.
would be, you should probably come back with a design that shows the roof without the Widow's Walk.
Without the Widow's Walk. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. You request this board to adjourn, correct? Okay, we'll accept it. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant's request. What are we on for goodness sake?
285.
285.
Old Town Road.
Where are we?
285 Old.
285 Old Town Crossing, Glen Kurtz, adjourned to our next meeting.
It was
by the
Old Town
applicant.
Road.
Old Town Road.
Old Town Road, sorry.
You're on Glen Kurtz.
Is there a second?
There is a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next app.
24 Polanski Street. Applicant present.
David Sherwood, architect for the applicant.
Just a matter of reference, the applicant is a commissioner of my board of TSHA. I feel I can be objective in the decision-making, but it's council's discretion. Proceed. Very good.
Good evening. For the benefit of the members who weren't here at the last meeting, essentially the house is around, it's about a 2,640 square foot house on a very strange shaped lot. We've been to the zoning board and gotten some pyramid relief. There was an existing house, or is an existing house on the property, and it currently occupies some 2,000, 2,400 cubic feet of non-conforming pyramid, and we requested another 800 or 900, I think, I can't remember the exact numbers, but we received that relief in addition, so.
David, has there been any changes on this since the last time you came in front of this board?
Not at all.
Okay. I just wanted to go and take a look at the site, Mr. Chair, and review. I didn't have any issues with this.
Esther, comments?
I've had a chance to review the file. I have no issues with it.
Christine, comments?
I have no objection, I like this house.
Brian?
I went to look at the site, and I think what you've done is just brilliant. It's great.
One board member wishes to go and do a site visit.
I did.
You did?
I'm good.
You're good. Is there any public comment on the application? Any public comment?
Okay.
All right, a motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of 24 Pulaski Street LLC.
Killing me.
24 Pulaski Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
These are misfiled.
35 Wine Dash. Wine Dash.
Good evening. My name's Anthony Cassiata. I'll be representing Joseph T.W. Architect on behalf of 35 Wine Ranch LLC. Before we begin, I just want to give you the affidavit of posting.
Is this addition visible from the street that you're proposing, the screened-in porch addition?
It is not visible from the street. The screened-in
How
porch
many
and
square feet is it?
The screen porch is 588 square feet, and the cabana is 96 square feet.
I've seen the design, I don't have any issues, modest. Do you have any questions?
No, I have no questions.
You can propose and go further, but I think everyone feels it's modest. Not it's not in purview of any right of way, it's in the rear of the property, it's very modest in terms of overall. If you want to do it, it's up to you, but there's no opposition in this board. Your discretion.
I mean, we're gonna go ahead with it, so.
Okay, any public comment on the
It's
application?
on the first floor, right?
Yeah, everything's on the first
Joke.
floor, so. was hoping to give an eloquent presentation to
Is it for you or for some, is it for your client?
Bedtime.
It's your, tell me you did a great job.
Is that your
I
bedtime?
don't like that one.
Come on.
May not be his, but
If you
it's
can, you
ours.
can stick around if you're getting paid by the hour.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Make a motion to approve the application of 35 Wyandanch for construction of rear screened-in porch.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next application, please.
Manhuta Hasali, 109 Moses Lane, for construction of 1- and 2-story addition to the dwelling.
Hi, Steve Rossetti, architect. This project has 3 parts to it. We're going to take the front porch, put a foundation under it, and enclose it and open it up to the living room. The second part is a 2-story addition on the south side, which would make a sunroom on the first floor and enlarge the 2 bedrooms above it. And the third part is a entryway in the back, enlarging that. Materials on the house will match existing totally. Cedar shingles on the roof, cedar shingles on the walls, natural, and Marvin windows to match
How
the...
many square feet is the addition?
What's that?
How many square feet is the first-story addition?
Okay, on the first floor, the porch is about 184 square feet. The sunroom, about 380. And about 48 feet added to the existing.
48 feet?
Yep. And we're adding the closet and a little piece of the bump out on the entryway. The house will have a chimney, fireplace, which will be red brick. The trim will be white.
It's a modest addition, then.
That's what we're going with. Esther, any comments?
No, I don't have any problem.
Christine?
No, I saw it this afternoon.
Brian?
I'm fine with it.
Pam, you have any other questions?
No, that's good.
Any public comment on the application? Please step forward. If you can just make way for him to make his comments.
Have you had a chance to take a look at the plans?
I certainly have.
Your name for the record, please.
Joseph Sanchez, 112 Moses Lane, directly across the street. I just want to say it looks great. You get too many negative comments and negative neighbors, I think they do. It looks
How
wonderful. So,
refreshing.
for the record,
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's a first.
And he waited around to give you a good look at that. You get some more people like that.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Good luck.
Good job.
Thank you.
Any further public comment?
Are we gonna do an approval for this?
Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of Madhu Miti Hosali on Moses Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Michael Irving, 66 Prospect Street. Affidavit of posting, affidavit of mailing.
Which one is that?
This is Michael Irving.
For the record, Michael Irving is a trustee in the Village of Southampton's application, and you're presenting for him?
Yes, I'm Michael McCrum, the architect.
Okay.
We're proposing a 8-foot by 16-foot addition to the rear of the house, the south side of the house.
Is this visible from the street in that case?
No.
No. The addition is how many square feet? 8 by 16?
Yeah, it's about 128 square feet, but it's 2 floors.
Okay.
The ground floor is a enclosed porch, and above that would be a master bathroom and a closet. And then over, there's really 2 parts to it, over an existing kitchen area, extending his master bedroom.
You want to see it?
Yeah, it was great.
Approximately 10 feet by 20 feet, 200 square feet
Very
on the second floor.
There you go.
Modest addition in keeping.
Yes.
Don't have any issue.
We're matching all the existing details.
Pam?
I don't have any issues. Modest addition. Good.
Christine?
No, I have no issues with this at all.
Brian?
I'm fine with it.
Esther?
It's in keeping with the rest of the house, and it's a modest addition. It's fine.
Any public comment on the application?
Where's Michael? How come he didn't show up?
He asked me to come, I guess. He's busy tonight.
Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the application of Michael Irving at 66 Prospect Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next application is Skyfall on Barnhart, 68th Street for construction of accessory greenhouse.
Hi, I'm Ashley Wolf from Rander Brooks Landscape Design, Landscape Designers. Here's the affidavits. So this is a greenhouse, 12-foot by 24-foot greenhouse. The short side, the east side faces the neighbors.
Posting and mailing. How high is the ridge on the greenhouse?
10 feet. 10 feet 1 inch.
Okay, and how long is it?
24 feet long.
And wide, 12 feet?
12 feet wide, yes.
So it's 12 by 10 by 20.
Yeah.
12. Okay, I don't have any issues.
And it
Is
backs
glass
up to
clear?
the parking?
Yes.
Is the glass clear?
Yes, clear glass.
Will there be any, sometimes when, especially with greenhouse, there's the light inside, interior light. It starts casting out, it actually, it illuminates and it makes it a big light bulb. Is there any lighting in the greenhouse? Do we have,
The
is it
plan is
tempered
for
down? Is-
very like light, subtle
I
lighting.
mean, it's the interior, but I know
Yeah.
sometimes neighbors have concerns
Mhm.
with that because once you turn it on, it just
Right, like a big
exactly
light bulb.
Oh, this is connected to the house?
No.
Okay,
It's
so it's
not.
freestanding.
That's why I'm
yes.
asking.
Yeah.
So there's no interior light that would be concerns or would be issue?
No.
Okay.
Any public comment on the application? Please step forward.
My name is Francesca Buzzi Ferraris. I live just on the east side of the greenhouse.
Your name for the record?
Buzzi Ferraris, Francesca.
You're gonna probably have to spell that.
Yes. I'm on 56 Barnard Street. My question is just to ask you at which distance from the property line is the greenhouse?
Where's the survey?
Did you have the opportunity to go into the building department and look at the file?
No.
Okay, you're the neighbor to the
east.
East.
How far are you set back?
Where I can show on the plan.
You have the survey?
Take your time.
If you have a survey there, would be helpful.
I don't have this actual
I'll read the
survey,
site plan.
but this is.
She's a site plan.
We don't have a survey.
We do.
We do. I'm just.
25 feet.
Can I see the survey?
So it's this.
Is 25 or less? Because I
It's,
think-
we are on the setback line. We're not over the line, we're near the line.
I'm sorry?
We're right next to the setback line.
How far are you from the setback line?
We're like 6 inches from it, so
You're
we're.
6 inches from the side
setback,
yard?
Yeah.
From her property?
Yes.
No,
No,
from the
from the
setback.
setback
The
line.
setback.
Yeah.
You.
4 inches.
Why don't you show this
Good.
to
Yeah.
Francesca?
Take your
Yeah.
time, though.
Thank you.
No rush.
Thank you.
It's easier to see it on that.
Okay, so we are,
20 feet. Yeah.
20 feet, yes, exactly.
It's 20 feet in 40 because across in the other side we
You
are
have 20.
35.
Ah, you have 35, okay.
And the big house is here.
Here is a wall.
For parking, so we
There is
can't.
a wall.
A
Which
brick.
kind of a brick
Brick.
wall
Mhm.
attached to the property line?
Next up to it. We planted.
No, we.
See that?
Should we have them take it outside if it takes a few minutes?
Do you have any other questions about the?
No, it is normal to have a wall, a brick wall attached to the property line.
You're saying, is there an existing wall?
No, they're going to build a wall.
Are you building a wall?
It would be, yes, on the other side of the greenhouse, 6 feet, no taller.
It's creating a parking foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far is the brick wall off the
Well,
property line?
About really 3 or 4 feet off of it, so we can.
And
have
how tall is
planting.
it?
6 feet.
6
Like a
foot?
fence. Yeah.
You're building a 6-foot brick wall.
Yeah, it's a parking court with the capped, round cap brick
It's a
on the top.
fence, though. It's a fence. I'm okay with that. Yep. However, what kind of brick, do you have a sample of what you're,
I don't have the sample with me. We use the old Carolina.
sorry, how far back are you from the start? Are you more than 100 feet to where the start of the brick wall is?
Sorry.
Flag lot.
It's a flag lot.
Yeah.
Ma'am, as the neighbor, what is your concern about the 6-foot brick wall?
No, I just was curious to see the greenhouse.
No, the reason
I
is
find
that,
You're bringing it up in conversations. I didn't know if you had an issue with it. Do you have any issue with the application as proposed?
No, what I saw, I think it's okay.
It's okay? No
Because
questions?
the setback across the property line are totally different. This way I was asking.
Okay.
On my side, I'm 35 feet, even for the pool equipment.
Okay.
It was an accessory. That's why I was-
So you had no issue with the application?
and Bo, you need to go how many feet from a 4-foot wall
I
or
need her
fence
full
to
record
6
to
feet?
just state, are you okay with the application as submitted?
Yes, if it's okay, legally, of course I'm okay.
Okay.
I agree with your assessment that it's a fence.
It's a fence, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any
Thank
other
you so
public
much.
comment?
Nope.
Okay.
We
Anything
need
further
the
from the
survey
board?
back.
Oh, sorry.
No. Motion to approve.
Make a motion that we approve Skyfall Barnhart LLC at 68 Barnhart Street.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
John Siders at 237 Meeting House Lane for conversion of a garage into a pool house. Thank you. This is the survey that goes back in the file.
This is the greenhouse.
Yes. Good evening, I'm Jim McChesney, I'm the architect for the applicant. This project is currently under construction and there's an existing garage that we're looking to turn into a pool house.
Cedar roof, cedar siding, and the square footage of it is how big?
It's about 450, I believe.
Is that, and what's the limit in the village for pool house?
This is actually in the hospital accessory building zone, so they allow larger accessory buildings. There's only like 4 houses in that zone.
So what would it normally be the limit?
I believe 450. It's slightly over, but it's allowed.
So you're converting an existing garage use?
To a pool house.
Okay.
Brian, you have any comments?
No, I have no issues with it.
Pam, anything further?
No.
Christine?
No objection whatsoever.
Esther?
It's very appropriate, no issue.
Modest, small, just conversion. Is there any public comment on the application? Motion to approve.
I make a motion that we approve John Sedaris at 237 Meeting House Lane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Next application, do you want
Could
to
you hold
call
on one
Wilson
second?
first?
Barbara Wilson went out with you, she didn't come back. I'm wondering, is she okay?
I guess, I don't know if we're gonna wait for the second call, but we would like to speak at some point, but I guess.
Did she leave for the evening?
No,
Could you go
was working-
see?
She was working in the back for an hour. She saw we were here. She knows that my wife and I left from Midtown Manhattan today at 3 o'clock to come here.
I understand.
I'm happy to wait all night, so
I-
I'm still here.
You can wait all night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're not.
We're gonna be all by yourself.
Okay. Well,
Do you want me to go out and see if she's there?
yes.
No,
Antoinette just went.
Antoinette just went.
Antoinette just
And
went.
she'll be right back.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead and vote on this?
We already voted on those, didn't we?
Wilson, I'm not voting for it.
Well, there's nothing to vote on, she's not here.
We do have another
Application,
application. We still
Let's
have one
go.
more application at 42 Old Town.
Okay. 42 Old Town Crossing LLC.
I'm sorry?
What do you got here? I get
42.
Okay, we still have 42 Old Town Crossing.
Is the next application. Does everybody hear that? Okay. We're going to do second call on Wilson.
No, we're just gonna, for
That'll be
Old Town
third
Crossings,
call.
we just,
Okay.
But this application right now that we're hearing is 42 Old Town.
that's correct.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Timothy S. McCulley of Council of Burke and Sullivan. In the prior hearings, there were several. The application was being presented by Monica Navia of our office, but she's away. So in order to keep the engine running, I'm going to step in for a little bit.
Any changes to the application from the previous meeting?
Well, there will be some revisions to the house, which we'll get to. We've had conversations with Zach Roth. Okay. The application, if you recall, is to demolish the existing dwelling at 42 Old Town Crossing and rebuild a new dwelling and accessory structures. At the prior hearing, it was pointed out, and we all learned, that this house that we intend to demolish was on the atlas and therefore was subject to a procedure for a possible designation as a landmark. Following that, the board requested that Zach prepare a demolition evaluation. That was done. In preparing that, on March 18th of this year, there were 5 criteria in the form, and only one was checked yes, and that was number 3 on the form. Embodies the distinguishing characteristics of an architectural style, referring more specifically to what has become known as a Foursquare style. And that style, correct me if I'm wrong, was something that was prevalent in the late 19th, early 20th century and kind of evolved out of Frank Lloyd Wright's Prairie House. In any event, the applicant caused an inventory of the 4 square houses in the village to be conducted. That inventory was conducted by well-known and well-respected historians, a copy of which is part of your record. They found 90-plus 4-square style homes in the village, and I think at that time Zach commented that he even thought there were more, maybe 100, 105, if I'm correct. So Zach then testified at an earlier hearing that he believed there were, I'm sorry, I'll skip that. In commenting to the board at the earlier hearing, Zach thought that the historian's findings interesting, but notably lacked the conclusion. He asked us to reach out to the historians and obtain a conclusion. They were kind enough to do that. And there's an addendum to their earlier report, which has been filed in sufficient number of copies and should be in your package tonight.
And it is.
And that conclusion, without going into the 2.5 pages, basically the final state. Huh?
Thank you.
Okay, the final statement that they make is, there are outstanding 4-square designs in the village of Southampton which contain rich period detailing that sets them apart from the more vernacular versions of the style. Given that the structure at 42 Old Town Crossing is a common vernacular house type, it is our opinion that it would not rise to the level of an individual landmark outside of an historic district in the village of Southampton, and we are outside. In addition, I believe you have received a lot of information about massing and height and ridge levels, et cetera, and I think that what was presented before, and certainly even the changes that we're going to introduce tonight, will show that we're within the keeping of that streetscape. Based upon the record before you, I don't believe that there's any reason for you to propose to designate the house that we propose to demolish as a landmark.
Thank you.
And that's the first issue that this board has to wrestle with.
So before we even discuss
Yes.
the proposed changes, Zach, any comment, any dialogue on the current historical significance or relevance of the existing structure as it stands? And no dialogue and discussion as to whether we should or should not begin a open forum and begin public discussion over designation of this property. Your comments, please.
Yeah, I don't think that this would have the merit to move forward for landmarking. I was looking for a recommendation from these historians because, as you said, they're respected and they do this, and I was surprised that they had not produced direction from that study. It is an interesting study. It's eye-opening to see how many of these types of houses, more importantly, where they're located. I do agree with this conclusion that while it's a worthy example of the style, it's not an exceptional one. And I agree that it would likely not, it's difficult to predict the outcome of the public hearings, et cetera, but I do agree that it would not rise to the level of individual landmarking. I think it was worth considering, certainly before we just grant demolition. And that's my responsibility to go look at these properties before they get to this stage of design and review to see whether there's not a reason to think about that as an option. And I thought it was important to kind of put the brakes on it at that point. But I do concur with their conclusion. So I don't feel that you need to proceed with the landmarking.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the fact that your consultant could get back to you with this.
Right. Well, just for the record, we had asked them to do a conclusion, but they felt that this was your territory and they didn't want to make into that kind of a thing. So that's basically why that occurred.
So let's discuss now the changes that you've made.
Well, what are we going to do about the landmark?
Let's get it all in one time. I don't want them going back and forth. We'll do public comment at the end.
I have a question, though. Why is this on the Sanborn map?
Why is it?
Yeah.
It was evidently constructed, we have a series of maps here, it was constructed,
I mean, the appendage that's on, I drove by before the meeting, again, just to get another look. The appendage that's on the hip roof facing the street, or on the roof facing the street, which has the green paint, it's a very subtle neighborhood in general. I mean, there's no texture to that street. And these are two houses that were being replaced, essentially, were taken down along there. Is there a reason why this was earmarked, or this particular lot, I should say, was earmarked?
No, we have the Hyde
Oh, it's
Atlas of
gone.
1916,
Right.
at which point the street had not been gridded out for residential lots. There was one house already built, which I believe is number.
But it was on one overall lot,
24 or
correct?
something. Sorry?
I mean, it was on one lot that was undefined.
No.
No?
No. On Old Town, in the 1916 Atlas, a Charles Brophy owned all of the property north of Old Town Crossing and much of what was south, undivided. And there was one single narrow house lot divided out with a house on it in 1916. And that still stands, and that's a couple doors up
That's
to
two
the
doors
west.
down.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That's 1916. It's the only house on the block.
It was just raw land 100 years ago.
Correct. By 10 years later, within the next decade, where am I? Here we are. All of the house lots are laid out, north and south.
So it's a relatively new subdivision, so to speak, within the
It
village of
was
Southampton.
emerging at that point.
Right.
And so by 1926, there are, in fact, 5 houses on the block, of which this is one.
Got
So
it.
it appears in the early 20s.
Okay.
And then some of the lots were built, some were
Really,
not.
the issue is the massing and size of the proposed house on this street as it would be anywhere else in the village with a new house, correct?
Right, but it is a block that was built up over time, so it lacks some of the continuity that some of the streets in town that were kind of built up at about the same time. So you have a much greater variety, and you even have lots that were never developed, as far as we can see.
Thank you.
Yeah, the issue, Mr. Hoag, came about because it's shown on the atlas, and that automatically triggers the review.
So let's
Just doing what
discuss
you
the.
do in court, which is ask
Let's
a question I
discuss.
already know the answer to.
Okay, let's discuss the changes, please. The changes.
Okay, is that the proper procedure,
Yeah,
Bo?
why?
I mean, shouldn't we make a decision on the demolition first, or not? Or am
believe the code
should,
requires that
it doesn't matter.
the ARB
Time.
dismiss.
First and foremost, there should be, we don't have jurisdiction, realistically, outside of the historic district for demolition. The conversation started that we would consider, or should we consider, saving the house because it was possibly historically or historical significance, and that it could possibly be a candidate for designation. But we don't have a written decision, or there's no process for a written decision outside of the historic district for demolition.
That correct?
I would see it as sort of like a negative vote here, Tim. I mean, nobody is proposing it now. Apparently, there's no thought to propose it as a landmark, so the matter will proceed.
Well, I thought you had to make a decision you weren't going to propose it.
There's the language, right?
And it's supposed to be done within 30 days from the time you
If
present
it were in
it.
a historic district as a contributing structure.
That's not the way I
Would
read
we
that.
wanna-
I don't want to argue the legalities of it. Let your counsel guide you, and that'll be
Should
the
this be a
answer.
written decision of clarity
The
then?
board may report that it does not propose to designate such a building as a landmark, which is what they've just done.
Okay,
Which it
that's
should be
fine.
in-
All right,
you're
we're moving
requesting
on.
that- Are you requesting that to be in writing?
No, moving on.
I'm just trying to help you.
Okay, whatever. Thank you very much. I always need help. All right, so we're moving on now to the design issue, and I just want the board, I'm going to turn it over to the owner and the architect to explain the changes that we've made, even more changes since the last
Can I
time.
just interrupt? Since this is the first time this has come up in the village, wouldn't it be a better thing to have this in writing, Mr.
The
Chair?
whole entire application will be in writing as a decision.
Okay,
Okay.
so you don't want to
Not
break
one-
up the issues?
Not one individual.
Okay, that's
Fair
fine. I'll be guided by you. Since you have the vote, I'm going to let you make that decision. Anyway, moving on to the design. I just want to let the board know briefly that comments were made the last time. We heard those comments. We went back, we met with Zach. He looked at that design. He made suggestions that further changing the design of what we're proposing. And we have now redesigned the house once again. And I think that we met all of what he asked us to do. I'll leave that, I don't want to step on his toes. He'll tell you whether that's true or not. But we do want to present this design as it is now in what we hope is a final design. You have copies of all of those new drawings, and they should be a part of your file. And we've made some reduced copies so that you can look at them as they speak
Files
about
that
them.
they were received by the Village of Southampton on May 11th.
Correct.
Okay. Proceed.
Do we have the small ones?
Yeah, we have them.
I
You
have
got
them,
them
yeah.
already? Okay, with that, I'm going to step out of the way.
Okay, thank you. Jeffrey, how many square feet is the proposed structure?
3,266, I
And
believe.
how big is the property itself?
3,206, I'm sorry.
3,200 square feet. And how big is the property?
Property is 80 foot wide by 103,
I'm sorry?
1.34 of an acre, I believe it was.
a third of an acre.
How many, what size?
I think it was about a third of an
Please
acre.
stop. There's a little too much chatter here. Do we have more than 2 copies of these new renderings?
Same.
That the same?
Let's look at
So I'm sorry, the size of the lot is what?
I don't know.
You don't
I
know.
need the
Just a
survey.
moment. I just want to clarify one thing. We were at the building
Settles.
department this morning. These were not in the file this morning, correct?
I gave them in on Friday, yeah.
You gave these in on Friday, okay.
I just want to go to the changes. What exactly are the changes?
Go ahead.
So we set back kind of the main, this section here. We took it off this east wall.
It makes a break in the facade. It also allows the 4-square roof, which we are.
So you're saying you step back the dormer?
Step back this whole wing of the house.
You know, to break this up and kind of leave the square. And then we also,
What is give me the dimensions. How much did you step it back?
I
What
was
is
a
the
foot back,
reduction?
1 foot back.
You moved it 1 foot.
That was the request.
1 foot.
Was a request by whom?
After consulting with Zach and the architect, that was the request. And then we stepped this bump out in the front. We pushed it back as far as we could. Just ran the,
So you eliminate the window there and you pushed it back.
It's now, you can see on the plan, it's now double.
It got
I'm on A2.
pushed back approximately 4 feet.
4 feet.
The window got pushed back 4 feet of the house.
The house went back.
The whole house went back. So what is, and then you broke up the roof line with a foot? Is that what you're saying?
See this little setback here?
Yeah.
I came back a foot.
Okay, so you stepped to break up the facade? then?
Correct.
Okay, and you came back 4 feet in the front?
In the front. This extension moved back 4 feet. Not shown on this model, but the front porch roof would be hipped. Hipped, and that's kind of the feel I...
Did the porch stay static and the house move back, or did everything move back?
The porch shrunk as well. Porch had been 11 feet, and now it's 8 feet. And this, I'm sorry, I put the wrong...
Was the porch reduced in size, or was it just moved back from the facade?
Porch was reduced in size.
And was it moved back in addition?
Correct.
So the porch was reduced by 2 or 3 feet, let's say, and the house was moved back?
Actually, the front of the porch...
In other words, were you net 8 feet, or were you net about 3 or 4
Explain it
feet?
this way, the porch was here, the
Yeah.
front of it. At the 30-foot setback line. Stayed there.
Okay.
But we reduced the porch from 11 feet to 8 feet.
Okay, so
to the house.
you reduced the connection point, but the facade stays in relation to the house, to the street?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But this had come back from the front.
Okay, I got it. And what's the ridge height of this house? Proposed
Approximately
ridge height?
33 feet.
Sorry?
33 feet.
And what's the existing ridge height?
Where are the old plans?
Totally, I see here.
Are you within 5 feet of the ridge line proposed?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah,
existing?
we are.
And what's your side yard setback on this house?
It's 17'6" on one side and 22'6" on the other.
These are the previous plans here. These are the March plans. I don't see such a big difference personally.
Is that the old?
These are the old plans.
And what did you do with the eastern fenestration up on the roof? Originally, you had a shed, and then you modified that with a little dormer? I'm a little confused. Up on your roof itself.
here?
Yeah.
The south. What's this?
No, that was in the other application, there were 2 houses
I
down.
think
I'm
the
sorry,
two
my
have,
fault.
just for the record, I know I've heard comments by the board in passing that there's not a lot of difference. We did meet with Zach, and these are suggestions that he made to make it more in tune with the Foursquare
This is the new-
design. So we were asked to do this, and this is what we did.
It's not going to look any different from the front elevation.
It doesn't look any
It
different.
doesn't.
I'm
You have to
looking
look at
at,
the sides.
I'm looking,
It's the
but
sides.
This is the old, this is the new. See how this has been reduced?
2.0, this is where you
Amount
see.
of roof.
How many square feet was the existing structure that you're tearing down?
Bigger, wasn't it? It was roughly the same size.
I thought you said last time it was about 150, less than 200 square feet. It's getting smaller, right? But what's driving the volume are the walls on the side. 17 feet on one side for your setback and 20 on the other, you're saying?
Mhm.
Okay.
They want
17.6 and 22.6.
That's the reason why I mean, it's proposed. Brian, comments?
I don't think that the changes were as successful as they needed to be. I understand pushing it back a foot does make the Foursquare read better, but, you know, that's in the back of the house, really. So, I mean, for me, the issue is still the roof and what's happening on top of it, and I know you did everything I asked you to do in terms of breaking down those dormers and things like that, but to me, that's more the issue than anything, and it's that rear appendage coming out the back.
Ham?
Jeffrey, can you clean up the modeling of the roof so we can get a better idea? Because right now, the model's sort of disintegrating in view a bit.
Yes, we can do that.
And clarify and show a snap line of the ridge and of the lower eaves and how that relates to the vertical surfaces? Meaning,
Want a new
that
drawing?
can you identify the roof plan so that it's a little more cleaned up? So it's just a roof scaled plan, and it could show the fascia
And above?
and above.
Okay.
There's a lot going on, and
Get rid of this.
I'm going to go back to Brian's comments. I'm looking at the plans from back in March and the plans for today, and frankly, I don't see
There's
any
not a big
changes that are
difference.
significant. Truly, I can appreciate your efforts, I don't see them. I also would respectfully request that your AutoCAD be given in much more detail because it really appears two-dimensionally, not three-dimensionally. And I'm having some of Ham's issues as well with the roof. It's a very complicated roof, and it's very difficult to
Can
understand.
you just do a 3D rendering of the roof and also a flat roof plan so we can interpret it? That would be great, that'd be a great tool to look.
And I'm still troubled by the massing of it, to be perfectly honest.
Christine?
Yeah, I agree with the comments. I mean, I think it's becoming complicated to understand these, and I still have an issue with the massing of the house and the roof line. I don't feel like you've solved the problems.
We appreciate you having discussion
I
and
do.
dialogue with Zach. We appreciate your time and your patience in making changes and attempting to make changes. It just, unfortunately, the changes you made don't read like they were significant. Usually when there's a change, there's a significant change. There should be some type of rationale behind the change being made. There's none. It's a foot.
Yeah,
and
well, part of the reason for that is all along, we've listened to all the changes and, you know, at other hearings, there have been comments, well, we've listened to all our
I hear
changes.
it, and you have to understand, even if we as a board
Mhm.
give suggestions or recommendations, when you come back before us, we still have to look at that and make a decision.
Sure.
Just because those recommendations were made and you made these changes, doesn't necessarily mean that we've automatically approved or agree with the changes that's met. We still have to take a look at the finished product and say, okay, well, that made a difference or it didn't make a difference. As been stated by all of my colleagues, it's just, this application's become very, first we took out the original issue, which was the historic. It's a big issue, be honest with you, that I think we've, as a board, overall resolved. So that's 500. Let's get to the 1,000. Getting the project done, but getting it done responsibly. It's still reading a 3-story structure. Any way you look at it, any way you construct it, it's a 3-story structure. With that said, it's as of right. And that's where we have our issue as a board.
It has to look right.
Even though you have the height within the pyramid, the square footage within your allowable, is as of right. The issue and challenge we have is we have to look at it from an architectural standpoint, how all of those things that you're allowed to do still read on the property. That's our responsibility. Sometimes it doesn't work well, because we have to take all of that massing and put it and form it in a way that looks a little bit more in keeping to the community. And that's, I think, what we're trying to do without designing the home for you, because that's not our job. And unfortunately, I'm sure you're going to hear comments coming forward next from the public, but these are the issues we have, and I'm sure this is the issue the neighbors have. It's a massive house, as of right, massive house, but how it's reading on that property is even more massive than it probably.
On a positive note, your materials are looking great. Your cedar roof, correct? And your 2/2 fenestration is very much matching the style. The moldings and so forth, it's just, the size is substantial. And one of the reasons why American Foursquares were so popular is they were just stacked on each other. Just one box over another box, is that
And they
correct?
came in a box.
Yes,
came
but they
in a
were
box.
simple and graceful
They
and
came in a
elegant.
box.
This is, got so much going on that it looks so forced, and you're losing that graciousness.
No,
that you
none of
have.
that, please.
So that's why I'd like to
I
see
know, I
a
understand,
roof
but-
that's,
Curtis, I just want to make a couple of remarks because I had made some suggestions and apropos of.
You want to wait for public comment? You want to make them now?
No. Okay. And I think which had addressing the scale. And I felt there were some very specific things that were exaggerating that could be reduced and therefore would address those issues. One being the porch, which you did change to a hipped roof rather than because that brings it in and it's more customary to the style, and it also tones that down a bit. And also to push in your first floor bay to make it as close to, if not identical to what you do above, because I think the front facade is helped by having that one bay project out, because that breaks up the length of that facade. But it pushes it out, and then it pushes out even further on the first floor, and that exaggerates the massing of it. And I'd also suggested that take that long, it's the east facade, and break that up by adjusting the back portion somehow. Perhaps more could be done, but the idea there was originally that wall was one continual line.
We get it, but then you go to that third story
So-
and it's just.
And the complexity of the roof is still very troubling, that back room, that.
That looks
back
like it was a house that was picked up and put on top of the house.
Is that the issue here? Is
Well, it's one
the,
more element for me that just exaggerates the massing and the scale.
All right, let me ask the board for their input here, because we've been struggling with this design, and
Simplify.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. You're saying that it's looking like a three-story house, and you want the lines on the roof simplified?
It is a three-story house. It's.
Well, you want the lines on the roofs more simplified?
Correct.
Yes.
What, is that what it is? It's the roof that's
Yes.
striking you?
Creating the mass as well.
Okay. I'm not an architect, so I don't know
Well, we
that.
just so
but,
happen to have one here.
God, that's so much better.
And I don't like doing this. I don't like presenting something because how do you tell, how do you?
Please.
Feel
free.
I understand that, but what ends up happening is
Do the roof
we're
layout.
not here, hear me out. We're not here to design the house, give suggestions. So consider this like a suggestion, just trying to simplify it a little bit more.
And what house is that?
Yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody draw on that, or is that
Yes.
grass growing on there?
No, it's no grass. Well, that may be fire trying to burn the different images.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see if
So
this
it's the roof lines that are
Mass
troubling.
of the building, the height, the massiveness.
Okay. I know that word mass is.
Lower it down and simplify it.
And please, please give us three-dimensional AutoCAD drawings and a model that's kind of perfectly
That's
rendered.
squished.
This model's been through the
I
ringer.
know, it looks
I know.
like
It
it, like
really
we
does.
feel, like we
It's
all
like you
feel.
threw it in the dryer with a brick.
Is there any public comment on the application? Please step forward, if you can just make way for a public comment, sir.
Wait.
Let me get out of the way.
Okay.
I can't believe that he can come in here tonight with these plans, and you're going to look at them and see them. When I was on the board, they had to be in a week ahead of time so we could look at them and, go over them, and to present them tonight, to just come in and hand them to you, I'm shocked. But anyway, I come before you, I'm
A
saying,
modification of 1 foot and a modification of 4 feet. It's just clarified on paper. It's not close to conclusion. Sorry to interrupt. It wasn't that major.
but I don't think people should be allowed
I
to
agree
do
with
it.
you
We never
100%.
allowed
I
it.
think-
100%. I was there at 11 o'clock this morning. Everything should
weren't
have been
there.
completed.
They used to have to be in a week before.
I have to object to that. It was in the file. It was.
We're going, come on, we're really getting
I
into
just want the
formality.
record clear. I have to read the
Understood.
record.
Formalities. You have comments about the
Understood.
project as a whole?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I come before you, I'm saying I'm very disillusioned that you didn't go through with the landmark. I was on this board for 9 years, and we tried so hard to keep new homes harmonious with the neighborhood. And I went back and I looked in the ARB code, and I looked at 11633, which is the duties of the board. And it says, quote, "The Board of Architectural Review and Historic Preservation is charged with the duty of maintaining the desirable character of the municipality and of disapproving the construction, reconstruction, and alteration of buildings or signs that are designed without consideration of the harmonious relation to such buildings as already exist and the environments in which they are set. The board is charged with the duty of exercising sound judgment and rejecting plans which, in its opinion, are not harmonious character because of proposed style, materials, mass, line, color, detail, or placement, and it goes on. This is 11633 of the ARB code. Now, I'm looking at this, and if you think that this building there is harmonious with the buildings on Old Town Crossing, I am here to tell you it is not.
I don't disagree with you.
I think every board member has said that this evening.
And I think we've mentioned mass several times.
The mass.
Bunch of times.
But I want you
A lot
to
of times.
know that you can reject these
We know.
things. Okay,
Let's,
thank you.
let me correct that. Reject if the applicant is unwilling to make changes. That's correct. But our job and our responsibility, I don't feel we should look at every application as if we should reject it or turn it down. We want to work with the applicant, and we want to be able to allow the applicant to have some license to make his own changes, his or her own changes. And if they cannot, and they are unable to or wish not to move any further, then we have denied applications in the past. Only in those circumstances. I don't want to just quickly say, turn down the application. We've made suggestions, we've made suggestions in the past, the applicant's made adjustments. We're hoping they're going to go back and make some more, but let's work, this is a work in progress.
But you know, when you go down these village streets and you see these small houses going down and then these huge things going up, and then their little houses next door, that's not really harmonious with the neighborhood. And
I
I
would
say,
direct
so
you-
why are all these many mansions going on lots of 1/3 of an acre?
I would direct you to the village trustees, whose responsibility is the current zoning codes. That's where you start.
They are
And
working on it. I've been
What
there.
has
They're
been
working very
happening over years is this board has been flagged, the savior. Let's stop every house, every McMansion is built in Southampton Village. Well, the issue is,
Thankless job.
that's as of right.
What?
It's a thankless job.
That's as of
I know
right.
it's
The applicant
thankless, and
has
I know
the,
people get annoyed with you when you turn down something, but you are also charged with a duty here.
Understood, but we also are charged with the duty of upholding current zoning as well. If a person has as of right to build, whatever square footage, whatever pyramid law, if they abide by those rules, we have to work within that. And it's difficult at this board, well, we've had precedent, and we've had law case where we've gone and we've actually lost because
You have to be careful.
we have to be careful. It's a very logistic, unfortunately, process
I
right now,
realize
and
that.
everyone's suing for a myriad of reasons. We have to confine within the requirements of our responsibilities and within our purview.
But don't you have to uphold your code also?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what
I
I want to
appreciate,
know.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Any further public comment? Okay. Some suggestions were made that I think
Thank you for
were
your words,
helpful.
by the way.
I'm sorry?
Thank you for your words, by the way, that was helpful.
Okay.
I would say that I'm having issues of mass with this house
Sketch.
in this neighborhood, and it
Nice sketch,
becomes
huh?
significantly
How do you
smaller.
define mass?
I'm gonna let our attorney define mass,
How do you define mass?
because that's what he does best.
Something larger than a photon.
Yeah.
Then a what?
Photon.
Whatever. Okay.
That's
Larger than
it's a
bread box.
subatomic particle.
Okay, that's,
Okay.
it's just, okay.
So let's look at the roof plan again, where it's cleaned up, where we can bring this house down in size, in viewable size.
My client and myself just had a little chat, and we're going to significantly simplify,
Clean this up,
because I agree with you,
lower it, smaller.
it's too busy.
It's too busy.
Just for the record, we made the changes that we thought would bring it more into the style, but obviously you're not happy.
Well, we'll change it more.
And, you know, as far as being harmonious, I think it was already stated that there's really no harmony to this road in particular. But
I
we're
think
going
the
to go
harmony
back.
had nothing to do with architecture. The harmony issue has to do with mass. How big? What the
Okay.
impact of the
All right,
structure is
I
going to be.
think, my-
I've also
I think
requested a 3D of this house.
there's not one thing that the board has requested, other than we're not making you happy so far with the design, that we haven't provided. But again, for the record,
Can you turn that back the other way, towards the camera and towards the public?
It's the old one.
just for the record, The board asked us to get everything in ahead of time, and we did. I'm sorry that it wasn't available to you. We'll try to do better.
It happens.
We'll try to do better. We did our very best.
We do appreciate your efforts.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what we'd like to do is adjourn this for 2 weeks.
Wonderful.
The architect and the owner are going to get together and try to get this more to your liking on the roof angle.
And more to the code's
Thank
liking.
you.
What code?
Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we approve the applicant 42 Old Town Crossing LLC request to adjourn for the next 2 weeks to our next meeting.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Falls on Memorial Day, so is it Tuesday?
Wednesday,
Oh.
27th.
Next
I'll
call
check on that.
is recalling Barbara Wilson, 165 Elm Street for second call.
Wednesday, 27th.
Ms. Wilson?
Barbara Wilson.
I think this can go. Does anything have to go in the file from down there?
Yeah.
This is
Is
an
that the
application for a
survey?
second-story rear deck and
No, different
outside
project.
staircase.
Good evening.
Is this the last thing?
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. So, since my last visit here, I did submit a new design.
Okay.
It was, as far as I know, it was part of the file on
May
Friday.
8th?
Right.
You have
So,
other copies to that?
and I know that at least one of my neighbors was there today, taking a look at it about 4 o'clock. So I know that that was definitely people were able to review it. So, first of all, the proposal that I have before the board now is for this simple staircase going straight down. I know that one of my neighbors is here tonight and is objecting to that. Apparently, they don't feel that that staircase should go straight down. They'd rather see it turn towards the driveway, which I'm not unopposed
Can I
to.
see a copy of that? Excuse me, sorry.
It's only one in file? How many copies did you submit?
3. I was told 3.
Should be a copy.
And I would still be willing to have it turned towards the driveway. It would be more, that would have to be more in what I presented in the first time.
Just a second, Barbara, if you can.
You're on the mic.
Oh, I'm
Your
stepping on
cards.
it or something?
The boards are,
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Yep. One sec.
We only have one set.
I handed them in, I know I did. So I had 4 made, I have an extra one
What's
because.
the purpose of this outside deck?
There is no
Well,
deck.
the purpose of it is to make sure that the people who I rent upstairs have an ability to get in and out of the home safely in case there is a fire. I have pictures to show the interior of my house, since everyone else has had a chance to see it but you folks. So this shows,
Is that the only addition, is the fire access?
this is the only, right now, this is the only way to get in and out of the house right now. That's the hallway from the front door. And then you enter the upstairs, there's a small little foyer. Then the next room is this room here, which is like a living room. Then there's a dining room, and then here is the proposed where I would put the door to be able to go outside. This is the kitchen here, which the kitchen is very small, and there's no ability to put anything there because it would have to go, which I'm not, if you wanted to go into my driveway, that's fine with me, but.
Yeah, okay,
You know.
I have another question. I assume that the windows are legal fire access, ingress and egress as required, meaning the windows are at least 5.7 square feet. That would give accessibility to the fire department with an oxygen tank to get in and get out during the course of the fire, right?
Well, this house was built very long ago. As a matter of fact, this house was moved to this location
Okay.
on telephone poles. So it,
You have a legal ingress and egress from that upstairs now?
from the time period in which this home was built, yes.
Okay, are there 2 egresses and
No.
ingresses? So there's only one?
There's only one.
And then the other one is an egress or ingress that is is for fire department use, as would be the code, correct?
Right, and that's what I'm trying to do, is bring it, you know,
And then
my.
we looked at an emergency railing as well as something that was less.
Well, right now, what I have is one of those metal things that you hang over
Okay.
and you would, you would hook it onto the windowsill. Hopefully,
The
you wake
fire
up in a
escape.
smoke-filled home and you have enough time to think, oh, yeah, that's right, there's a metal escape ladder. Let me go find it. I mean, Miss Redding has had, unfortunately, that experience herself. And you're able, to absolutely breathe at that moment, think clearly, get the ladder, hook it up, and hopefully get down it. That's not likely to happen.
Okay.
It's there. I mean, it helps my insurance, but it's not really. These are the photos. I know you've all been over to see my home many times, except for you have not.
Okay, just direct all comments to the board.
So, all right. This is something that I would propose to build.
Sorry, Barbara,
if
you
you'd like it.
satisfy, excuse me, you satisfy the code right now, is that correct? So you don't technically need this.
I don't
is my answer.
satisfy the current, if I were to build today, no.
Okay, but as far as pre-existing non-conforming,
Yes.
right now, you're satisfying with the egress and ingress windows.
Yes.
Okay, the legal
Yes.
thing, if somebody, God forbid, there was a fire and somebody had to get the hell out, they would be able to get out.
Right.
And the fire department and the building department and code enforcement would be satisfied.
Yes.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're saying, well, let's put a deck here.
It's not a deck, staircase.
Staircase, I beg your pardon, guys. A staircase that allows somebody to get more comfortably in and out of a second floor apartment.
Right, where there's
So
a
it's not really a
kitchen.
fire issue, it's more of a, more or less of a use issue than anything else, right?
It would enable someone to use,
Which
to-
I
of
wouldn't
course, to
have an
use it
issue
and
with,
come in the
but
back.
hanging
right.
out on privacy, I do have an issue with.
Right. Well, this is to enter and to leave. Egress and ingress, that's all it would be. It's not.
Barbara, just a quick question.
Yes.
Several meetings we've had now, we've had this conversation. And each time we discussion, we thought we were going to see an enclosed staircase. Is there a reason why we haven't gone in that direction?
Well, the last time, which is in the letter that was submitted and read it, and I think it says to please read it to the board. Actually, there's a paragraph there where it's opposed. It says, as of now, the village and residential neighborhood with a historic feel and charm, the addition of any enclosed staircase with a roof protruding out many feet into an already small backyard would be an eyesore.
Who said, I'm sorry, that letter was written
This
by-
letter was written and signed by Mr. and Mrs. Peter Young-Vonich.
I understand that, but we still ask for a copy of it so that we can see as a
Oh, you
board-
have it?
We have a copy
Yes.
of it.
You have a
So that
copy.
came at the last meeting?
I'm not sure exactly when they submitted it. It's dated, I believe,
I'm
April
sorry, I wasn't at the
27th.
last meeting, that's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
I know, I'm so sorry, too.
Yeah, it's okay.
April
Thank you.
27th, it was submitted.
Yeah, that's the meeting. Yes.
So, I mean, if you wanted me to do something like this, I would be fine with that. This is what my next-door neighbor has. I'd be more than happy to copy that as well. This is what's currently next door. And everyone, I noticed that the word privacy keeps coming up. But I'm not aware of, these photos were taken with drones, and I don't think there's any problem with drones taking photos these days yet. So,
Could you pass those around, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
and I'm sure my neighbors did the same thing using drones, because I'm sure no one entered my property. These are, again, this is the home next door. These are the before and after pictures as featured on TS Construction's website. So this is exactly what I would propose to do if the board would rather have something like that. These are some listings on TS Construction website showing many homes in Southampton Village that have been constructed with decks, approved with decks, and actually their listing prices as well. So apparently it adds to the value of the home, which I know is a concern of at least one of my neighbors. This could probably be authenticated by the author of that website tonight if you needed it.
So they create like a Louvre look with,
And on my quick morning run the other morning, I was able to find 5 homes while I was jogging, not even really looking. 5 homes. This is on Little Plains Road that also have decks and/or balconies.
Uh-huh.
This is also an
It's TS
ad.
Construction, by the way.
Doesn't matter.
This is an ad in the Southampton Press from this week. Heart of Southampton Village, with this huge deck right in the front yard. We could call Beth Morano if we need more information on that, I guess. This is what I first proposed. So this is the backyard. This is their front yard here in the heart of the village of Southampton. These are pictures that were submitted by the neighbor. However, he had a label here which precluded you from seeing the deck that exists next door. And again, I would say I would duplicate exactly what my neighbor's done next door, if that's more tasteful in someone's opinion. This is the other one I showed you before, the interior.
I think these are great images.
Yeah. And again, going back to the
These are
privacy.
decks, they're not active decks. You talking about these?
Yeah,
You're saying
decks,
staircase?
slash balconies.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with that. You're talking about the fact that they have them.
Right, they have
As
them.
opposed to right, is that what you're saying?
Right. Because, I mean, I can't say that someone's actually going to use that staircase, they could use the other
You're saying it's
staircase.
it's not a usable deck, those are all decks that are passive.
Is this a legal two-family?
Yes.
It is.
And on the other side are other photos. Yes, it is a legal two-family.
I think the request for a staircase and a landing to get in and out of the house is, if it's a legal two-story, is fine. It's the use of the deck on the second floor that I
Right.
have the issue with.
And I propose just putting a staircase, but I think
fine with that.
the neighbors who are here tonight also have said in their letter that they're opposed to that. They
To a
would
straight-
rather
to a
have.
staircase?
Right, they said they would allow me to have, I believe was the wording that they
First of all, they
used.
can't allow anything, we make the
Go
rule.
ahead and finish.
They can make
It says, "We are
recommendations for
willing to
consideration."
allow Miss Wilson to build a metal ladder, not a staircase, and have her affix it to the south side of the existing chimney, which we know by fire code is not permitted to allow
I
anything to
get
be
it,
attached to the
and just for
chimney."
record, we have to acknowledge that there's no community allow you to do anything. You're here presenting an application before this board.
Maybe the,
We vote on that.
maybe the gist is.
Let's just see what the public has to say.
Can I show you some more photos
You
I
can
have?
show me as many
Because
photos
again,
you
this
like.
was a privacy issue that was raised by TS Construction. And this shows my pre-existing driveway with privet and brick. Here's the letter from Mr. Guglioto that says, "You've been informed and provided with a survey that your driveway encroaches on my property. Since you have no intentions of rectifying the situation, I intend to have my workers remove the encroachment."
Is this a legal matter? Is this a
No,
legal-
which in fact did happen. I'm just saying for the privacy issues. So this was removed as far as the privacy concerns. So if anyone has concerns of privacy,
Did he remove his?
I didn't remove
My
anything.
question
This is not
here, one second.
relevant.
Did he remove his hedges from the property or your hedges?
He removed the hedges that were there.
Okay.
So that, I get it.
And then this is the garage in my neighbor's backyard with a window that you can see looks onto my property.
Right.
Because there's all these privacy concerns, so.
Mr. Chair, I
Let's
gotta
just take
tell
a
you, I
look
don't
at-
have any issues of a straightforward fire escape, hardened staircase that's not enclosed going in this house whatsoever. I do, however, have the use of the second floor deck, even if it's to put a chair out that I definitely would object to. Other than that, it's 9:40 tonight, and I'm going home.
There's no room for
I
it,
don't know.
you know.
And if there's no room for it, then there's no room for it.
Any public comment on the application?
Curtis, if this is
I'm sorry to be
it's
rude,
the
but-
same thing over again. Just,
I got it.
you know.
I got it.
I'm still confused as to what this is. Oh, boy.
Anthony Gugliotta, 161 Elm. I have several comments. One, when I was here at the last meeting, I asked for a certified survey be handed in. What was
Sorry, you asked for a what?
certified survey of Ms. Wilson's property.
Surveys in file.
Yes, I was at the building department this afternoon.
Okay.
And there is a survey in file. It's not a survey, it's a site plan. And the site plan is not accurate. The site plan is
Can you
dated
take a look at the file?
March 95.
There you go. Oh, sorry, it's the wrong one.
Barbara, do you have a survey that's up to date and legal
I
for this
absolutely
property?
do, and not only that, I can assure you that Mr. Gugliotti, through much litigation, has received several copies of several surveys, and we've had surveys back and forth with 4 different attorneys who represented him.
So is this the survey that you see in file?
Okay, I was there this afternoon, that wasn't in there, so if that's the,
This has been in the file since November 7th.
I gotta go.
this is the survey I was handed today.
I'm just expressing to you the
All right,
date.
all right, we'll pass on the, we'll assume the survey is certified and it's correct. I heard it here tonight, a couple times, mention balconies and decks are not really the policy of the village.
That's not the case.
Well, this is what I heard.
No,
but whatever.
you said
Yeah, I
that
missed-
and you heard wrong.
Okay.
It's not that it's a policy. Decks and second-story decks become issue when there are privacy concerns. It's not that they're policy not to exist.
Okay.
No, you're making incorrect statements. I want to make sure you
I'll
say.
correct myself.
Okay, thank you.
But
Can I just back up and ask the chair a question? This is gonna be a written decision most likely anyway, correct?
He's got to get.
Once you're prepared, you're gonna prepare a couple of different versions of a written decision here, counsel, most likely?
Don't see any reason why there should be.
I'm instructed to write a decision for the board, then
No,
I'll
it's
write
not
a decision,
historic.
and if you like, then I can submit it for the members to review before.
That would be the
it's
correct way to go
Sure.
about this, I think.
What are your other questions?
The property is 0.16 of an acre, 7,000 square feet. She said tonight she was just only looking for a staircase, but when I was at the building department, it shows a deck. And a
There were
long
several versions of this.
She
The
showed-
first version was a deck. She has since removed the
Oh.
deck portion of it, and now it's just a staircase.
She claimed to, not what on file today, and I'll pass this around.
I don't wanna see anything more.
Well, I think you should too.
Ham.
It's a
I
deck
don't-
and a long staircase.
Ham.
It's 21
what?
feet long.
What you're saying, okay, you said deck, this is a staircase, correct?
She original application was for a second floor deck.
Correct.
Then at the last minute, I think it's the fifth meeting, she's I'm gonna make it a staircase.
Which is
Because of
fine,
the-
which is her right.
Because,
But
wait a
I'm
minute.
looking at plans out of the file, which shows a deck.
Which are an old set of plans. You have
You're looking at
This
an
is
old,
today. I got this today.
If I could just help a little bit, I'm sorry, I
No,
apologize. I'm
well,
Peter-
sir,
You
have
have
a
to-
seat
He's got the-
and wait till he's finished.
Can I say, this is the filed set for the, sir, this is the filed set for the application that shows an egress
Exactly, it's right
stair.
here.
I don't know what that is.
It's a
This is
set-
the
it's a
stamped set, sir.
And
of
this is
the-
a copy of it.
We told her she couldn't have the deck, so we came up with another option.
So she can have the
As far as
deck.
I'm concerned, you're fine with the staircase and the landing, and
I'm
that's
not-
my
I am not
position.
fine with the landing, because it's a deck.
It's not a deck, it's 3
What's
feet
code-
wide.
What's code on the, on a,
I'm not a building inspector, and I'm not gonna
You're in
read
the
the New York
building- but
State
you're in the
Code,
bu-
but I
but you're in
think
the building
that
business.
the
You're in the
decision
building
has to be
business.
read to show what is the definition of a deck and a railing porch, right?
Show her if we take this one, please.
Brian, do you have a suggestion?
No, I'm trying to, well, we're trying to finish out the application. Listen, I'm not trying to be dismissive of your issues and your concerns.
I will point out, this is what it would look like with a deck that she
Thank
has and a stair stringer.
Tape's running out.
What's that?
I would like to have you look at
Ran
it.
out of tape?
Tape's running out.
You want to change batteries? Why don't you do that while we try to figure this? Good, Charlie.
Take
Ready,
this.
Charlie?
Sum this up.
Or dirt. You can't bring this all the way up because you can't have the door swing over the steps.
What is the depth of the deck as it stands?
It's a
The landing.
10
How
feet.
long is it?
I would have to use the map.
Well, actually, I just asked Brian, who has a scale ruler, to address that, and, you know, maybe for the record, Brian?
Mine is scaling at 9.6.
So
That's
Just-
the length
ju-
of the landing?
Length of the landing.
I think
And
code
let's,
is,
let's talk about the swing of
Code
the
is
door.
36
Right.
inches.
Is there
3
any
feet,
reason
3 feet
why
by
this?
3 feet.
So Barbara, if you made the 36 to 42 inches where it comes out and then the stair risers start, would that be acceptable in order to get legal access? I think that's a good middle ground. So you have your exterior staircase and access to the second floor. You have a landing that you're able to walk outside, I think it's 42 inches, right, Brian?
Yeah, the issue is whoever designed this did a landing coming off the house so that there was headroom under it for what's below it. I mean, that's obvious. If you don't object to it, push the staircase as far back as you can to the house, which would be about 3 to 4 feet so your door swing doesn't go over the stairs, and put your stair in.
And then put your stair in.
And it's exactly, Mr. Brady, what you said. It was because the architect said, you're gonna be hitting your head on the stairwell.
That's right.
And he
Most
said,
likely,
so,
yeah.
you know, of course, the other option is acceptable to me too, as the Yankovic's stated, if they want it to go over towards Mr. Guglielmo's house, I would be willing to do that as well, so.
So you mean angles?
Right.
I sketched that.
Yeah, I saw the
Yeah,
sketching.
we saw
the
that.
sketching.
That would
Any
be
other
fine
questions?
also.
A, it's out of character of the village on a parcel that's only 0.16 of an acre. I've heard that brought up tonight, out of character for Elm Street. I spent a lot of money on this house, up before this board, to restore it. Restored it to exactly the way it looks right now, and that's the way it looked before I restored it. Now, if Ms. Wilson wants a staircase in the back, she could extend the house, the rear of the house, like she said she would. I will knock the house down and do it over again. She could build an addition with an enclosed staircase, switch stairs, which you know what the switch stair is, and that'll resolve it.
That's not the application that's before us
That's
right now.
unfortunately not what's before us.
Well, then this is obviously should be denied. Doesn't fit the character of Elm Street. Or, I've been up before this board many times, and I know what I go through when I design a house. This does not belong in the back of Elm Street.
For the record, I've never submitted that. I don't know where that.
You don't have to
came from.
submit it.
Anything else, sir?
So what you're suggesting, Brian, is to come out 42 inches approximately with a platform and then engage a stair that goes to the west. Is that correct?
Just make it a simple
Which I would
stair
be
to the
fine
second
with.
floor. I can appreciate the
Which I would be
concern
fine
with
with,
fire.
But I'm not fine with it. Aesthetically, it's out of character of the village.
That's
And
our
hope-
decision.
And she's got a two-family house without the staircase. She's been rented for years, along with her husband renting for years.
Okay,
That's
so
not,
you're-
that's
you're
not
really-
the issue, but that's not the issue.
But she doesn't need this.
I tell you what
That's
I tell you what
not
the
the
issue is. I tell you what the challenge is. Obviously, there's bad blood.
It's not bad blood.
Yeah, it is. And it's getting. Hear me out, and it's getting negative.
I'm gonna step down.
Okay.
And this gentleman, there's no bad blood.
Okay.
Let's hear what he has to say.
Thank you.
And they've been out here on a 4-hour bus trip to be out here, or a car trip.
That's okay. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Hi, your name for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Leah Youngmanich. I live at 169 Elm. We're Miss Wilson's direct neighbors to the north. And for us, this isn't a personal matter. I sort of get what you're saying. A negative tone has been taken. It's not a personal matter. And I think that privacy is not an issue that should be taken lightly. I think I know I still would oppose even a smaller staircase. 36 by 42, it's still enough for someone to stand out there on their cell phone, look directly into our master bedroom. I can show you the views. So we sort of rendered it based on the existing plan, the 10-foot staircase, even a 4-foot staircase, eye level with our master bedroom, looking down into our family room. They'll be able to see the most intimate workings of our family, even if it is 36 by 42. I understand the need for safety. I'm sure we could find other alternatives for that don't allow someone to stand outside, look directly at our family. I mean, the aesthetics are an issue that you all are the experts on.
Can I just say something? In New York,
I would
in
love to
Manhattan,
finish.
anywhere, I grew up in the city, and anywhere you have fire escapes, you have an issue of ingress and egress.
Sure, this is not New
This
York
is what
City.
this
This
is.
is
As far as I'm
Southampton
concerned,
Village.
it's a basic ingress and egress right to make a person safe or to make your house safe. That's, again, why I'm asking the chair for a written decision on this. As far as I'm concerned, on an aesthetic thing, I don't think we would have much of a choice. If there's affordable housing or there's other housing in this village, we're gonna have a lot of these applications come before us.
I agree.
Okay.
Hopefully. Question. There seems to be a tone in terms of privacy issues. Have you proposed or would you propose some type of screening that would assist in eliminating some of the privacy concerns.
When Peter was over at my house, I expressed to him that I'd be willing to put trellis on there, or like I said, what TS Construction has put next door to me, which he finds now so distasteful on his own home, I would be willing to do the exact same thing on my home.
No, with all due respect,
What about vegetation? What about trees? What about hedging? What about?
we can't agree to that. One, it would block the light into our
Would
property.
you agree to a solid wall that is between
No.
your house and off of the platform?
No, and-
Then I don't have any issues with this.
May I just state something for the record? Currently, I maintain a fence, a stockade fence, and privet, and trees, which I'd be more than happy to remove.
Why would
if
you
they
remove
want
them?
to look into my backyard.
Why would you do
No,
something
that's
like
just.
that?
I
Why
mean,
would
That's
I
what I'm
want
saying. I'm a neighbor that's going to a lot of my own expense to make sure that privacy is maintained. Before, there was nothing. I know you didn't live here then.
I can't allow the. I can't allow
Chair, I
the.
gotta step
yeah.
away.
But
Sorry
I've
for
done
the meeting.
everything I
It's 10
can to
o'clock. I'm not
create
gonna
privacy. They also, as
Right.
from their pictures, can look into
Excuse me.
my backyard
It's
right
it's
now.
and
That's the way it is.
I understand,
I-
Barbara. That's not the approach. Please.
Chairman, all
We're-
I'm gonna suggest is that, and I've heard my,
Good night, guys.
be attacked again and again by these new neighbors, is about their privacy concerns and how small my lot
But
is.
Barbara, what I have to do
Their-
now is they're commenting now, and we allow the dialogue and the discourse to go back and forth. Allow them to finish with their comments,
Absolutely.
please.
Yeah, please understand, this is not an attack. This is, we feel like our right to maintain our standard of living in this home that we love so much. I don't think that privacy is something that you can look down on.
Just to let you know, this board is extremely supportive
I
to privacy.
really appreciate that.
We have done, I mean, I'm sure you heard this afternoon
I
about
did.
the Widows Walk and
Absolutely.
second-story decks, and we don't take privacy lightly. That's the reason why we're trying to
No,
find a happy
absolutely.
median.
And I think that we have pretty limited privacy as it is, and it doesn't make any sense to make it more limited. And, we could, if there were screens, if there were trees, it wouldn't block out sound, it wouldn't block out the excess lighting, it wouldn't block out the excess foot traffic and the door slamming. I mean, we could,
And look,
this is
we're
not
not
personal for us.
And we're not exaggerating here. Literally, we're sitting in our dining room, having dinner, and if someone goes into her current first floor back door and the door slams, you hear it. So think of us at like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, when you have two sets of tenants slamming doors.
I will say that we're sensitive to that.
So,
Well, we
But the
appreciate
lots,
that.
hear me out. Southampton Village is beautiful in nature.
Yeah.
But one of the disadvantages are you have small and narrow lots. You're going to hear noise. There's no challenge. There's no way of avoiding that. You're going to hear noise. So that's not something we can resolve. At some point, sometime, the proposal is for a second-story landing in some form or fashion. You're going to hear noise. The concern right now is privacy, and how do we come up with a happy median to resolve your issues with privacy? The door's going to open and close. I'm sorry. That's just the nature of living in Southampton.
No, we understand. We just don't think we
I
should
hear my
act.
neighbor's
Yeah.
pool equipment all day long.
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's just the way it is.
Sympathize. And I think our final point is the devaluation of property. Adding a second-story staircase may add value to Miss Wilson's property, and we're definitely not planning on selling our house anytime soon. We love it, but if we were to, it would be a really tough sell if buyers were looking and saying, "Wait, why is that staircase looking right into?"
You do
our bedroom?"
acknowledge that there are other staircases throughout the village of Southampton.
We do,
So
but
I will say, the
we
thing I'd
don't
like
need
to
to
add
add
is that
They do exist.
they do exist.
They do exist.
The ones that
This
Ms.
is not a
Wil- the-
rare, this is not
Sure,
an
but the-
isolated.
Sure.
But
This
the-
is something that is, and I won't say it's common, but it does appear.
It does exist, and actually, Mr. Hoag asked Ms. Wilson to do research at a meeting, and she came back and she came with a couple examples. The one, and I'm sure she probably would have found the smallest ones possible, but she came up with 45 Moses Lane, 0.83 of an acre, 5 times our lot size. She came up with 73 Pulaski, 4 times our lot size, with a 5-bed, 5-bath home. So I think this goes to the fact that everyone talks about zoning. We're in R7.5, the smallest zone. If you want to build on that zone right now, you need a 75-foot wide minimum lot. Her lot is 35 feet wide in total. So essentially, I've mentioned a couple of times we have a narrow lot, et cetera, et cetera. I think this proves that this might be her lot, our lot.
are the narrowest lots in the village. So it's hard to find anything else that has something like this at this type of size. So yes, I agree with you that 45 Moses and 70 Pulaski have second-story decks, but that's not the same type of dimensions that we're dealing with. I can't, on whether someone has a deck or not, and he has a deck or not, or someone else, it's not right to allow to add more to it. Like, sometimes applications are just bad and wrong. We've argued multiple times about fire, et cetera, et cetera. She actually stated in the April 13th meeting that the current fire code does not require her to do this. We talked about it today. I think it was established again, the current fire code does not require her to do this. So at this time, this is our pride and joy. We have to come out of the house every day and we have to see a staircase. It's already a two-family home. We didn't know it was a two-family home when we bought it. She's gonna rent it to people. I'm gonna come out, we're gonna have kids one day, hopefully.
I get it.
And they're gonna be like, looking at random strangers looking at us.
Okay, so
I'm just pleading with you.
I hear your anger and I hear your frustration.
It's not anger, it's just, it hurts my heart.
I hear your passion.
Yeah.
Now, you said you guys went out in the hallway, you had discussion about angling it and redirecting.
No, that was
No,
something that we
was-
had put in a letter,
And
but
we-
then she.
It wasn't a proposal from us, it was just us noting that since it's not
It's a
angled.
happy median.
No, it wasn't
not a
it
medium,
wasn't a
something
happy
we're
medium.
accepting
It was
anymore,
saying
no
that,
way.
no, it's.
Anymore. So you're saying at some point you did?
No, we
No.
didn't. If you read the letter, it says her current plan does not do that, and that's why it stretches out so much. We didn't say we would approve a plan that goes around her house. It would be the same concerns for us. No.
That's what you are approving?
Nothing.
So we
approving anything,
apologize for
I'm
the
just saying
language
we're
of
not
our
approving
letter.
anything.
We read up on the code this weekend,
get
so
it.
we worded our letter wrongly. We realized, obviously we know we don't allow anything, and we do appreciate you hearing us at this hour. Another public comment cited this code.
Yeah.
And it does say the board is charged with the duty of rejecting plans, and I know you said that's not your purpose, but in certain cases, that's a duty according to the code.
If it's
Can I make an
you
observation?
certainly can.
You have heard it before this evening, and I want this to be an observation to prejudice or not anybody, okay? If this stairway can legally fit in that side yard, and those, I have not reviewed the file to determine that. That's a zoning issue. If this can be an appendage to the property, either as a stairway or the owner would have the right to expand the house to the same distance, this board does not have the power to deny it. It can possibly tweak it. The owner can agree to move it, alter it, something like that. But you can't continue to approach this board and say, deny this stairway, because it's a zoning matter, and they are an aesthetic board. The portion you decided to the code presumes that the declination is within the aesthetic of the application, not the zoning. As you heard with 42 Old Town Crossing, that owner has a certain right to a certain gross floor area of the house, which this board cannot diminish.
But the aesthetic also has to do with the relation to other buildings.
It does, but what I'm saying is this board cannot deny it.
Got it.
So
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Highsmith asked this earlier, we've asked about enclosed stairs at the Feb 23rd meeting. We asked again at the April 13th meeting. She only read the letter today in the back of the room that we had suggested potentially enclosed stairs to try to move it along, which meant that she had no intention to submit enclosed stairs for today's meeting, so it's 3 meetings now. Like, where do we go from here? Like, this is, it doesn't matter if we're 5 miles away or 100 miles away, right, on the commute. We're happy to keep coming out, but I think we would all agree that at 7 months, 7 meetings, a couple adjournments, a lot of incomplete plans, like, there's, things are not being handled correctly by the applicant either.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Very well.
I think there's one more person.
Any more comments, please?
Good evening, I'm Diane Finnegan, I live at 175 Elm Street. 2 doors to the north of Barbara Wilson. And this really is not a personal issue by any stretch of imagination. If any one of you were submitting the same plan, I would be here talking in the same exact way. I want to preface that. And number 2, I want to say that I would never, my husband or I would never be submitting plans of this nature that would be such an infringement on the rights of my neighbor's privacy, as well as the aesthetics of the application. We just wouldn't do that. We'd be very considerate of our neighbors and how they feel about it.
Your comments on this application?
Okay. I hope you have read the letter that I submitted with the photos. I did that quite a few months ago. Again, my main issue is the privacy. We already have a deck overlooking our backyard from the southwest corner of our property, as well as the Young Bonaviches. So I really think having overlooking another one, even though there's a property between us, it will be looking into my backyard as well. We've already talked about that it's a 4 by 10, but that might be changed. It's also one of the smallest properties in the village of Southampton, and it's really just 0.2 of a mile down from the post-crossing property that we were talking about that's in this historical district. And a lot of concerns is given on the aesthetics, the window treatment, removing things, so forth and so on, and yet 0.2 of a mile down, doesn't seem like you're as concerned, even though we're not in the historic district. My house is a 1910 house. It is what it is, and I just find it very upsetting that Mr. Hoag left tonight without listening. We did not ask for the second call. We were here ready to talk 2 hours ago. Barbara Wilson was the one that asked for the second call. So I know you're upset, it's late, you're tired, you're exhausted, and you kind of want to go home.
We're just tired.
I know. So I'm just, I want to say that. We did not ask for the second call.
Understood.
So I'm really upset with his behavior.
If I could just state.
No.
Let her finish,
Sorry,
please.
please let me finish. Also, at these meetings, I feel like I'm becoming a pro coming here. This is my 6th meeting out of the 7, listening to everything. You talk about aerial photos, you talk about landscape plans, showing previous already existing plants. You want extra plants done. You have colors of signs. You worry about the signs, the size of the signs, the lettering, etc., lanterns, gates, everything else, and yet you seem to be allowing I'm sorry, I just don't think it's aesthetically appealing. It's an eyesore. That's my opinion. I have the rights to my opinions aesthetically speaking. I really would feel, the only thing that I would really feel comfortable with is if she did the ladder where you put out, I don't know if they're called whatever they're called, some sort of a long screw type thing you screw in, about 10 inches off the wall. You put a ladder there. The person can leave through a right-sized window and climb down, and that would give her the egress. It doesn't have to be a chain. It could be a ladder that is made out of metal. You attach it to the side of the house next to a window where the person upstairs, when they have to get out,
You're saying climb in and out of the window?
You climb out of the window to get out of a burning house. Yes, this is if the purpose is to have a fire escape, then put a metal where you attach it far enough from the house, 6 inches, 8 inches, whatever needs to be done. You put the letter, it kind of looks like two,
I get it.
Okay, thank you. Made out of metal, and you can get out of the house that way. We had one in one of our other houses, so that our son, when he was little, could have gotten out, in case my husband, who was a fireman, couldn't get to him.
Should have had that when I was a teenager.
So, the other thing is I would like to ask, I know you're going to be voting on this application at some time soon, but at the November meeting, the very first meeting, I wasn't here, but my husband was here, and Mr. Hoag recused himself. Then the next meeting, he goes, and he kind of unrecused himself and came in and said, oh, no, there's no personal, I'm not going to be making any money off of this. I would like to ask the attorney if a board member can recuse himself and then unrecuse himself, which is exactly what Mr. Hoag did.
Yeah,
And that was in
I don't
the,
think we're so focused on that, but my general advice to my members is that if they can render a full and fair and objective determination on an application, that absent a direct involvement with the applicant, they have to make their own decision to recuse. Whether or not at one point somebody feels they should recuse, and then the question is it irrevocable? And I don't know whether it is or not, ma'am. So it's a good point to bring up, and we should be aware of it.
I mean, I was hoping that we wouldn't
I
get
don't
to the
have
point
a
where we'd have to
clear-
get to this
clear
point, but,
response to that.
yes, I'm very concerned about that. as well. And I do have, my husband's great, he gets a copy of the code, and we've had it for a long time because we do own properties in the village, and it does say that you do, especially in terms of it's not of a harmonious character because of the proposed style. It just isn't something that I would ever put my neighbors through. And I'm really passionate about this. I just think you have to be considerate of the neighbors that are involved.
We are trying very hard to do our best.
I know.
And so this may go on for a while.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And if one last comment, my wife and I would just like to say that, to Ms. Wilson's question, we would be okay with her, as what Ms. Finnegan just presented, with installing a fire ladder, metal fire ladder for purposes of egress in a fire, which was initially what she mentioned. She's mentioned multiple times in her meetings as the reason. So we're trying to work together. There is an eyesore opponent to that too, but we're willing to accept that.
Board members, comments? Brian?
I don't have any comments.
Christine?
No.
Esther?
No.
All right.
May I just put something on the record for purposes of, in the case that my application is denied, I'd just like to make a record for my appeal.
Okay. I don't believe we were going to, but you, go ahead.
I'd just like to, first of all, ask about, inquire about the authority of the ARB to consider the backyard, since the backyard is aesthetically really of little concern to the ARB. I would also just like to put on the record that.
Yeah, we don't consider that a little, we have jurisdiction from any right-of-way of any purview to view and make recommendations and judge based on the I want to say the ordainment of our board. So yeah.
I just need to create a record.
You can
Thank
question it. I'm
Thank
just
you,
letting you know that we have the authority to do so.
I appreciate that. And also, just for the record, also, Mr. Hoag said at first he thought that he may have issues, and then as I recall, he said after consideration, and I'm just supposing that he spoke to council, and he then said that he did not have an issue after reviewing what the parameters were, which have been defined tonight. I just also would like to point out the devaluation of the property. The TS Construction House that you have on that board the price was just raised by $600,000. So as far as devaluation of property, I don't think the board has to be concerned. I didn't create any of these current privacy issues. They are what they are. I've done everything as a good neighbor to try to make sure that everyone has as much privacy as possible. I would just say, yes, our lots are extremely narrow, and that's why they are affordable to young folks coming out here from the city for weekends to play and be able to have a house that they can play in. I live here full-time, 365 days a year. I didn't come from Sayville tonight. I didn't come from New York City. I came from Southampton Village. As far as the second call, that wasn't done to annoy anyone. Unfortunately today, as Mr. Gugliotti knows, because he saw me at 4 o'clock, I was in a great rush. My daughter was having surgery. I had to go check on her.
Is she okay?
Thank you for your
Is your
concern.
daughter okay?
Yes, she is okay. She has not had a reaction yet to the medication, so we're
Well, she'll be in our prayers.
hoping it will be good. Thank you.
With regards to the application, I'll start. First,
And I have these to submit as well, so.
Okay.
And this is a,
I don't know if we're going to keep
We're not
these
gonna keep
boards.
these.
okay.
on
And may I
behalf
read
of
this
this.
into the record?
We're not going to keep the boards because what
Okay,
happens
but
is
you should hold on
they
to
leave
them.
here, they go to the building department, they're all over the place.
This is
If-
oops, sorry, may I? Okay.
What I will say, speaking on my own behalf, is that on several occasions I've asked that, just as a happy median, that the stairway be enclosed. I just think that immediately that would be
But apparently,
resolved.
that is not something that the neighbors are
That's
pleased with.
great what the neighbors have to say. I'm just speaking on my behalf as
Mhm.
one making a vote. I think that that's a happy median to resolve the eyesore issue and concerns that one would have on this particular project. That's me.
And like I said, I'd be willing to do exactly what was done here. This is what exists
Well,
right
that's
now.
not necessarily enclosed.
That is what exists right now at my neighbor's property. I'd be very happy to do that. And apparently no other permits are required to add this because I couldn't find any in the file. So I'd be happy to do that as well. This, just because we spoke, Mr. Brady, about the underneath of the deck, underneath the stairwell is a deck that I like to use to dine on, whether or not people
Use
watch
is,
me, I don't know.
use is irrelevant,
Right,
Brian.
but there,
Any comments about the landing, about what's being proposed?
Yeah, I mean, she's right, the landing's gonna go away, whether we do an enclosed stair or a turn stair, you
Okay.
know, so.
but just so that, you know.
And the deck below it's gonna go away.
Okay.
So underneath this stairwell here is a outside shower. So,
Christine,
which, and then may I read this into the record, this letter?
what letter is that?
It's a letter to the Southampton Press dated
What are you saying,
just a house. It says, "My parents, Louise and Stanley Burdowski, bought the house at 161 Elm Street in 1948.
I don't see with this.
Next door lived Ernestine and Charles Wilson, our neighbors.
Totally bemused by this.
My mom and Ernestine planted vegetables and weeded in their backyards for more than 35 years without a harsh word between them. Our own driveway was shared with a neighbor on the south side of the property. The Wilsons' driveway, which was between our home and their house, was only used by them. It was always their driveway without question. After all, we are all neighbors." And that's the way that our neighborhood. Has the meaning of the word changed? Or did it
Barbara,
just go by the wayside?
Is this in regards to your application, or are you just
Yes.
writing are you just reading a memo with regards to neighborly behavior?
Well, it says, as new people.
Because
move-
I'm sorry, because it's like a quarter after 10.
Well-
And if you're gonna read a letter about
No,
neighborly
this is the
behavior.
last line, and it's because there was a historic house that was
Okay.
mentioned in the opposing party, but yet I didn't see anyone comment on that.
Yeah, I get it, I understand it. Esther?
Just my thoughts very briefly, because it is late. I think it would be very helpful for you to resubmit a dimension drawing and reducing the size of the deck so that really it's as small as possible, just allowing for the swing of the door, and/or showing a second rendering with some screening for privacy. And also, the other comment I have to make is the light fixture, I don't think is night sky compliant, because.
Well, that's not a light, that's a camera. No, I'm only kidding.
Okay. Reaching for my glasses. So that would be helpful. And again, we are trying to work together. It is difficult for everybody concerned, but we are hoping that we're going to come up with a solution.
Please come back before the board. And we're really asking, not removing your screening, but do something that will assist and help with the questions and the challenges that individuals have with regards to their privacy. Bottom line is that you're proposing a project. It's not their responsibility to screen their privacy. It's your responsibility to be cognizant of your construction or whatever addition you put to your house and how it affects those that you, after it's finished. So we really need you to come back and come with a more sensitive alternative to resolve some of the screening and security and privacy issues.
Well, to be quite frank, they've already said they're not going to allow me, and
They
I'm
don't
up
have
to
it.
$291 a step, and I haven't started any construction.
I get it.
So I'm
The-
very tempted to just ask you to close this meeting tonight, and I'll file an appeal, and I'll get what I originally asked for.
Can I just say this? Barbara, we need, as Esther said, we need dimensions of the landing. You know, a clearer drawing of the deck. What's going on with the door opening and shutting? I mean, how much clearance is there? It's not detailed enough what you're proposing. I mean, you have a two-family house. You need a staircase, you need egress, but it's not clear how you're proposing it. The drawings aren't clear enough.
I don't think the drawings are complete. I think we need dimensions.
What I can do is I can
have
go
to
to
stop the narrative about your neighbors are not allowing. You have to cut that. Neighbors don't get a vote. They get to voice their opinion. They get to voice their concerns. They don't get a vote on the application. At the end of the day, this board is the board that makes the recommendation. We also are the ones that make a vote. So that's very, you step in, standing, it's, so.
About privacy.
We really would like for you to be more, to define the application a little more. Really come back with a more sensitive alternative to assist and maybe just screening, some form of screening, a tree or hedging or something that will
So
add
take
to.
that fence and the privet that's there and move it over more towards where the deck would be.
I'm saying that the questions that came in here were about screening, were about issues with privacy. A very impassioned discussion about a person making sure that what happens in their home is between he and his family.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
But just so you are aware, because I know that picture was also submitted, as you can see right here. Literally, here's my dining room window. So when Mr. Yankovic chooses to sit in the many cars that he likes to work on, as he mentioned in his garage, and he likes to park them right there, I could hand him dinner.
Maybe you
Okay?
do that, it
That's
wouldn't be arguing.
Literally, the window is right here, and the car is right there. I'm
Yeah.
not kidding you.
I know,
Literally, as he said, they're very
all narrow
narrow
lots,
lots.
we understand.
So,
So-
other than, I can submit exactly this. I mean, I can take this off of TS Construction's file and submit exactly what he did. I mean, it's already been accepted by this board.
I think you need to go back and get architectural renderings to show what you're producing and
Okay.
show the dimensions, and that way we are able to have it part of the file, but it's also a legal part of the file that the building inspector can enforce.
It looks like we're trying to make progress here.
We're trying.
Mr. Brady, can I just ask you, what is an enclosed staircase, as I'm not an architect? Is that something that has a roof structure so that okay, so can we have an enclosed staircase with a roof structure and a turn stair option also? I think that's fair. I think that was,
Okay,
that
so
was
can I
asked.
use my bottom deck? So can I make the landing
Okay,
come out?
we're
So I can
going
use
in,
my
we're
bottom deck?
we're really
think we're
going
done.
in, we're really
I would
going in a
ask for
direction.
something else. You have to do
Excuse
also.
We're really going in a direction
I
we
think
want to
we're-
go this
Can we,
late in the
can we
evening.
ask
think-
for the enclosed
Thank you
stair,
very much.
please?
I think we
we're
have, we have.
Okay, and the other thing is, I know it takes some time for these plans to come about. There's a high chance that in the next 2 weeks that everything's not ready. Can we please pick a date in like 2 months so that we have an enclosed stair plan, a turn stair, enclosed stair
Okay,
plan?
this board doesn't delegate when the applicant is going to bring his or her plans into the
They're free to
file.
come back to the next
They
meeting.
will, they are free to, and they have the right to develop their application as best as possible. If they need additional time, they have the discretion of calling the building department or sending a letter and saying, I need an adjournment. I'm sorry, I know your distance issue, and I know the concern about
Barbara,
moving,
I
coming
think we
back and forth.
The enclosed
But
stair is
what
something
I
that we
would, what
can-
I would do is, following this meeting, maybe come over with flowers and say, excuse me, but can we just have a conversation about the project? Because it's not gonna happen in here. What happens is it gets argumentative. I think it's just the nature of the walls here.
Just so
Mr.
the
Floor.
chair and the board knows, I did that. Peter certainly did come over to my house. He went all through my home. We talked about many things, many of which he has fully disclosed here and apparently to other neighbors. So, I would be more than happy to do that on my front porch.
Okay. That's-
Good luck.
Good luck. We hope it works out
So
well.
I'm requesting an
And I didn't mean flowers in that
Thank you.
manner. I'm sorry.
Is this a
I
new
don't want to get you in
person
trouble.
who wants to comment?
I'm sorry?
Is this a new person who wants to
Are you
comment?
here for comment, sir?
Not yet, no, next time maybe.
Oh,
Next
goody,
Not that I
okay.
know.
Okay. So we're going to adjourn for this evening per your, so that you can get information. All right. Motion to approve applicant's request to adjourn.
I make a motion that we accept the applicant Barbara Wilson's request to adjourn to our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes from April 13th. All members here?
No,
April 13th, yes, everybody was here.
I wasn't. Was I here?
I had done it, I just checked it.
No. Board members had the opportunity to review. Any
I think
comments?
I was here. Okay,
Any
if I was
comments,
here, I had
questions,
no
concerns
issues.
about the minutes from the 13th?
No.
Motion to approve the minutes from the 13th.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of the 13th, 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
27th, I was not here, so.
No,
and-
there's not a quorum.
It's not a quorum.
All present at the April 13th meeting.
Yeah.
Motion to close this evening's meeting.
I make a motion that we close the meeting of the Board of Architecture Review and Historic Preservation on May 11th, 2015.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night.